Chapter 1066. They're divided into two types of people. One of them is a martial monarch powerhouse that our Lu clan is helpless against. Lu Bai paused for a moment when he reached this part of the sentence. His expression turned solemn, and his tone was filled with helplessness. Martial monarch powerhouse. Moreover, it was a martial monarch powerhouse that the Lu clan was helpless against. Everyone present on the scene heard Lu Bai's words clearly. For a moment everyone agreed with him. A martial monarch powerhouse that the Lu clan was helpless against was obviously stronger than the strongest martial monarch powerhouse in the Lu clan. The Lu clan could not do anything to such a person. He had killed a direct descendant of the Lu clan. Even if the Lu clan was furious, they could not exact revenge. Although the Lu clan had connections with some of the first-rate forces on the other side of the Ruoshui River, those first-rate forces would only make a move when the Lu clan was annihilated. If the Lu clan was not in danger of being annihilated, the first-rate forces would not make a move even if the clan leader died, let alone the death of a direct descendant of the Lu clan. They were protecting the Lu clan, not anyone in the Lu clan. What about the other type of people? Duan Lingtian continued to ask as his eyes gleamed. The other type of people are not martial monarch powerhouses, Lu Bai said slowly. Lu Bai opened his mouth slowly. After successfully attracting everyone's attention apart from the Lu clan's disciples, he continued to say, that group of people has almost reached the peak in the medicine refinement Tao. They're grade 1 alchemists. Grade 1 alchemists. The moment Lu Bai's words left his mouth, the entire place fell silent. At this moment, even if a needle was thrown to the ground, the sound would be audible. So they're grade 1 alchemists. The Northern Mountains Lu clan is an alchemist clan. A grade 1 alchemist is enough to earn the Lu clan's respect. Moreover, a grade 1 alchemist is very influential. This can be seen from the fact that the Lu clan has been around for 10,000 years. The reason the Lu clan has been around for 10,000 years is because of the dozen or so grade 1 alchemists in the Lu clan's history. After everyone came back to their senses, they all came to a sudden realization. When they whispered to each other, they deeply agreed with this. A grade 1 alchemist might not be as strong as a powerhouse in the Northern Mountains Lu clan. However, the influence of a grade 1 alchemist was enough to make the Lu clan fearful. Cough cough. Did you hear that? Only a martial emperor, a grade 1 alchemist cough cough, can kill me, after killing me. Come out and scathe cough cough. You don't have the qualifications to kill me. At the same time, Lu Huai, who was lifted up by the neck by Duan Lingtian, became restless once again. He stared at Duan Lingtian with contempt, fearless. Only martial monarchs and grade 1 alchemists can come out unscathed after killing you? Duan Lingtian and Lu Huai looked at each other calmly. Both of his eyes flashed and a crazed look appeared on his face. No. When Lu Huai felt Duan Lingtian's grip tightening, his expression changed again. He struggled and screamed shrilly. Duan Lingtian. The expression of Lu Bai, who was watching from the side, changed greatly. He never thought that Duan Lingtian would actually dare to take such a risk when he knew that he would definitely die after killing Lu Huai. Crack! The crisp sound of a bone breaking suddenly reverberated in the air and entered everyone's ears. They could not help but shudder secretly. One of the 5 Lu clan's disciples who came out with Lu So and Lu Zhao hastily turned around and left. The other 4 people also had a look of disbelief on their faces. Their gazes, without exception, landed on that purple figure. The other people's eyes were also focused on the purple figure. The owner of the purple figure was none other than Duan Lingtian, who was dressed in purple. At this moment, Duan Lingtian exerted more force in his hand and broke Lu Huai's neck. His head fell to the side. Boom! Duan Lingtian lifted his hand and threw Lu Huai's body on the ground. His expression was calm as though he had done something insignificant. Crazy! Many people's eyes narrowed. They looked at Duan Lingtian as though they had just seen a ghost. They thought Duan Lingtian had gone crazy. He really killed the Lu clan's 3rd young master? Is he not afraid of death? It's useless even if the Lu clan's 2nd young master pleads on his behalf for killing the Lu clan's 3rd young master. What's he thinking? I think he doesn't want to live anymore. The onlookers discussed among themselves. They found it difficult to understand Duan Lingtian's actions. He knew he would not be able to escape death after killing the Lu clan's third young master, but he still killed the Lu clan's third young master. Was he not digging his own grave? Duan Lingtian. Lu Bai's expression turned ugly. Lu Bai's expression was ugly. The thing he was most worried about had finally happened. Of course, the reason his expression turned ugly was not because of Lu Huai's death. Although he and Lu Huai were both direct descendants, there was no blood relationship between them. In fact, Lu Huai had secretly plotted against him in the past because he and Lu Song, the Lu clan's first young master, were competing for the next clan leader's position. To be honest, Lu Bai was happy that Lu Huai was dead. However, when he thought about how Duan Lingtian might lose his life because of this, his heart could not help but sink. Although this was his second time meeting Duan Lingtian, he was saved by the powerhouse by Duan Lingtian's side during their first meeting. Due to this reason, out of gratitude, he did not want anything to happen to Duan Lingtian. Otherwise, how could he face his benefactor who had saved his life? Young man, you're too competitive. Lu So sighed. He thought Duan Lingtian had lost his rationality and killed Lu Huai because of his competitive nature after being provoked by Lu Huai. A single slip would cause everlasting regret. In his opinion, this was the most appropriate way to describe Duan Lingtian right now. Whether it was Lu Bai or Lu So, none of them asked Duan Lingtian to flee. It was not that they wanted to see something happen to Duan Lingtian. It was just that they knew even if Duan Lingtian fled now, the Lu clan's martial monarch powerhouses would catch up to him. Unless Duan Lingtian was also a martial monarch powerhouse. Otherwise, it would be meaningless for him to flee now. I'm afraid Duan Lingtian won't be able to escape death today. What a waste for such a monstrous genius. That's right. Duan Lingtian is really monstrous. Not only is his cultivation base shocking, but he even killed Lu Zhao in just one blow. He's suspected to have entered the 9th level void transformation. Even his innate talent in medicine refinement Dao is shocking. Heaven is jealous of a genius. Heaven is jealous of a genius. Most of the people present on the scene felt Duan Lingtian would definitely die today. They shook their heads and sighed. They felt pity for Duan Lingtian, this monstrous genius who was about to die. Uncle, did you see that? Duan Lingtian killed the Lu clan's third young master. He killed the Lu clan's third young master. The green-clad middle-aged man who was squatting next to Lu Zhao's body had a maniacal smile on his face. He lowered his head and kept whispering to the body next to him, "You have to watch carefully. Duan Lingtian will be executed by the Lu clan soon." At this moment, the green-clad middle-aged man's face was filled with joy. It was as though he could already see Duan Lingtian being killed by the Lu clan's powerhouses. Young master. Compared to the others who felt Duan Lingtian would definitely die, Xiong Quan's thoughts were completely different. Initially, he was affected by the surrounding atmosphere. He was worried that his young master would kill the Lu clan's third young master on impulse and bring disaster upon himself. However, now that his young master had killed the Lu clan's third young master, his heart calmed down. He knew his young master well. He knew his young master would never do anything he was not confident in. He had a feeling his young master would definitely be able to overcome this crisis. He was looking forward to it. Who are you? Why did you kill my Lu clan's lineal disciple? At this moment, a loud and clear voice resonated from afar, attracting everyone's attention. A moment later, 2 old men appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The 2 old men walked side by side. One was fat while the other was skinny. The fat one was short while the skinny one was tall. The former looked like a ball while the latter looked like a bamboo pole. The 2 old men walked in the air and entered everyone's line of sight. They only stopped when they were not too far away from the crowd. They hovered in the air and immediately locked their eyes on the purple-clad young man. Soon after, another figure appeared. It was the Lu clan's disciple who had left earlier. He was the one who had informed the 2 old men. Elder Yuan, Elder Gai. When the 2 old men appeared, Lu So and the other 4 Lu clan's disciples bowed respectfully at them. Even Lu Bai, the Lu clan's second young master, took the initiative to nod at the 2 old men. However, the 2 old men did not respond to Lu Bai and the others. This was because their attention was focused on Duan Tian. When they inadvertently saw the body lying near Duan Tian, they could not help but feel enraged even though they were prepared for it. In their rage, their gazes turned extremely sharp as they stared at Duan Tian. At the same time, they did not seem to make any movements. They did not even seem to emit any energy from their bodies. However, the air around them began to stir. The sound of air exploding could be heard, rising and falling one after another, continuous and unending. Two martial monarchs? When the fat and thin old men appeared, the spiritual energy that Duan Tian extended out seemed to have merged with a ball of cotton. At this moment, he realized the two old men in front of him must be martial monarchs. As expected of the Northern Mountains Lu clan, two martial monarchs have personally come just because one lineal disciple died. At this moment, Duan Tian deeply understood the meaning of the word clan. If it was a sect, it would be impossible for something like this to happen. Why did they kill your Lu clan's lineal disciple? Chapter 1067. To us, the process is not important. What's important is the outcome. Do you know the consequences of killing our Lu clan's lineal disciple? The two old men, one fat and one skinny, spoke almost at the same time. Their voices entered everyone's ears. Whoosh! Whoosh! As soon as the two old men finished speaking, a majestic and vast aura surged out of their bodies and swept toward Duan Tian, who they had their eyes on. However, Duan Tian did not move at all in the face of the aura from the two martial monarchs. He remained as still as a mountain in the midst of the storm. The two old men could not help but be stunned by the scene before them. When they regained their senses, astonishment was written all over their faces. Not bad, little fella. Unfortunately, you'll definitely die today for killing our Lu clan's lineal disciple. The old man, who was short and fat like a ball, Lu clan's guardian elder Lu Yuan, narrowed his small eyes and took a step forward. A rolling energy rose from his body as though it was about to burst out at any moment. Elder Yuan, please have mercy. Just as Lu Yuan was about to make his move on Duan Tian, a voice suddenly rang in the air, causing Lu Yuan to withdraw his energy slightly. Then, his eyes landed on the figure that appeared in front of Duan Tian at lightning speed. Lu Bai. Lu Yuan could not help but frown when he saw the person who pleaded for Duan Tian. He did not expect the Lu clan's second young master would plead for mercy for the person who killed the Lu clan's third young master. Lu Bai, as the second young master of our Lu clan, you should know our Lu clan's rules. Stand down. The skinny old man, who was as thin as a bamboo pole, Lu Gui, looked at Lu Bai with a grave expression and said coldly. Lu Bai was the Lu clan's second young master, a lineal disciple of the Lu clan. However, as the Lu clan's guardian elder and a martial monarch, his position in the Lu clan was not inferior to the clan leader of Lu clan. He did not care about a lineal disciple at all. Elder Yuan, Elder Gui. Lu Bai took a deep breath and stared at Lu Yuan and Lu Gui. He said in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing, Lu Huai's death is purely his own fault. He can't blame anyone else. As for Duan Ling'an, he saved my life, and I can't watch my savior be executed by you. After Lu Bai finished speaking in one breath, he looked at Lu Yuan and Lu Gui with a serious expression. His feet did not move an inch. Whoosh! Lu Bai's words caused an uproar. Duan Tian saved the life of the second young master of the Lu family? Many people were surprised. Young master saved second young master Lu's life? Xiong Quan was also stunned. However, he had never heard his young master mention this before. Duan Tian raised his eyebrows slightly. Among those present, other than Lu Bai, he was probably the only one who knew. He had never saved Lu Bai's life. The one who saved Lu Bai's life was Feng Wu Dao, not him. Naturally, he knew why Lu Bai would say this now. It was all because he wanted to protect his life from the two Lu family martial emperors. Duan Tian felt warmth in his heart when he heard Lu Bai's good intentions. Lu Bai, even if he saved your life, it doesn't change the fact that he killed a lineal disciple of the Lu family. He'll definitely die today. Lu Gui took a step forward and stood next to Lu Yuan. At the same time, an overbearing invisible energy surged out of his body and shrouded Lu Bai in an instant, pulling him away from Duan Tian. Elder Gui. Lu Bai's expression changed drastically. He realized that the invisible energy that shrouded him and pulled him away from Duan Lingtian was so overbearing that he could not break free from it. Since you've saved the second young master of the Lu clan, we'll give you 10 breaths of time to leave behind your last words. After 10 breaths, I'll send you on your way. Lu Yuan said slowly as his eyes flashed and locked onto Duan Lingtian. Young master. At this moment, Xiong Quan, who was pulling the ice coffin in place of Duan Lingtian, had a change of expression. He took a step forward and tried to block Duan Lingtian like Lu Bai did earlier. Go back. However, as soon as he took a step forward, he heard a voice that sounded like thunder. It was a voice that he was extremely familiar with. Young master, Xiong Quan looked at Duan Lingtian, who suddenly turned to look at him. His face was filled with anxiety. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Before Xiong Quan could finish his sentence, he was interrupted by a voice that came out of nowhere. He could tell that it was his young master's voice. Although Xiong Quan did not know where Duan Lingtian got his confidence from, he trusted Duan Lingtian unconditionally. For a moment he stood there obediently. He'll be fine? The moment Duan Lingtian's words left his mouth, Lu So, who was standing nearby, shook his head and sighed. In his opinion, Duan Lingtian must have not realized the severity of the matter. Unless Duan Lingtian was one of the two special types of people, he would definitely die for killing a direct descendant of the Lu clan today. Otherwise, Duan Lingtian would definitely die today. There was no suspense about this. Is this Duan Lingtian crazy? How dare he say he'll be fine? I think he's just pretending to be strong. He's just trying to comfort the people around him. I heard the people from the Lu clan call them Elder Yuan and Elder Gue. They must be two of the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders, Lu Yuan and Lu Gue. 2 martial monarch powerhouses. Elder Yuan and Elder Gue came out personally. It's useless for the Lu clan's second young master to plead for mercy. This Duan Lingtian will definitely die. The people present on the scene discussed among themselves. They all thought Duan Lingtian was indulging in fantasy. At this moment, most of the people present on the scene were looking at Duan Lingtian as though they were looking at a dead man. In their opinion, it was impossible for Duan Lingtian to survive. From the beginning until the end, they did not associate Duan Lingtian with the 2 types of people that the Lu clan's second young master, Lu Bai, had mentioned earlier. Subconsciously, they thought it was impossible. Even Lu Bai himself subconsciously felt the same way. If Duan Lingtian dies, how am I going to explain to my benefactor when I meet him in the future? Lu Bai, who was bound by Lu Gui's energy, had a terrible expression on his face. However, although he was anxious about Duan Lingtian's current situation, there was nothing he could do to help. With his strength, there was no way he could break free from Lu Gui's energy. Lu Gue was a martial monarch powerhouse. She was not someone he could compare to. How arrogant of you! Lu Gue heard Duan Lingtian's words as well. His eyes gleamed coldly. If Lu Yuan had not said that he would give Duan Lingtian time to leave behind his last words, Lu Gue would have attacked Duan Lingtian already. Duan Lingtian had said that in front of him. It was obvious that he did not respect him at all. You have 5 breaths of time left, Lu Yuan said in a deep voice. At this moment his expression was a little ugly. He did not expect the purple-clad young man in front of him to be so arrogant. If he had known earlier, he would not have given him the time to leave behind any last words. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, as soon as Lu Yuan finished speaking, Duan Lingtian extended his right hand and turned it so that his palm was facing up and the back of his hand was facing down. What's he doing? Most of the people present on the scene looked at each other when they saw Duan Lingtian's action. They could not understand what Duan Lingtian was trying to do. You have 3 breaths of time left. Soon after, another 2 breaths of time had passed. Lu Yuan spoke again in a cold voice. Up until now, Duan Lingtian had already maintained this action for 2 breaths. Even Lu Yuan and Lu Gue, the 2 Lu clan's guardian elders who were at the martial monarch stage, did not know what Duan Lingtian was trying to do. Lu Yuan, leave him to me when the time is up, Lu Gue said indifferently. Lu Gue said nonchalantly. It was obvious he wanted to personally deal with Duan Lingtian. All right. Lu Yuan nodded, indicating that he had no objections. 2 breaths of time left. This Duan Lingtian can be considered to have lived his life in vain if he can be killed by a Lu clan's martial monarch powerhouse. Do you think there's something wrong with Duan Lingtian's head? He's already at death's door. But not only is he not leaving behind any last words, he's even posing in such a strange way. Don't tell me he thinks Lu clan's Elder Yuan and Elder Gui will let him go because of this? How naive. Duan Lingtian, a monstrous genius. A single slip that causes everlasting sorrow. He's going to die in the Lu clan today. God is jealous of his talent. I think he's just digging his own grave. He didn't have to kill the Lu clan's third young master, but he still did. The people present on the scene whispered among themselves. Many of them felt that it would be a pity if Duan Lingtian died just like that. After all, not only did Duan Lingtian display a powerful innate talent in martial Dao, but his innate talent in medicine refinement seemed to be extraordinary as well. He could be considered as an all-around monstrous genius. However, Duan Lingtian, the monstrous genius, was facing a certain death because he had killed the Lu clan's lineal disciple. You have one more breath of time left. Lu Yuan spoke again. His voice was even colder now. His gaze was cold as he looked at Duan Lingtian. His voice was emotionless. Humph! Lu Gui snorted softly. His robe fluttered in the wind. Waves of energy were quietly brewing, rising, and accumulating in his body. He was ready to strike in a breath's time to kill the purple-clad young man standing on the ground in front of him. The martial monarch powerhouse was accumulating his energy. Everyone present held their breaths as they watched quietly. Young master. Xiong Quan clenched his fists tightly. Although he believed in Duan Lingtian, he could not help but break out in cold sweat for Duan Lingtian due to the surrounding atmosphere. It seemed like Lu Gui would make his move in a breath's time. Duan Lingtian, who had been quietly spreading out his hands with a calm expression, finally had a change in his expression. A faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. It was a smile that was difficult to detect, and nobody noticed it. Time's up. Finally, a breath's time was up. Everyone present on the scene was shocked. Everyone's eyes shifted to Lu Gui in unison. They wanted to see him make his move on Duan Lingtian. However, they noticed that Lu Gui was hovering in the air without making any move. Chapter 1068. For a moment, everyone who was looking at Lu Gui followed her gaze to the other side. There was a purple-clad young man standing there. It was Duan Lingtian, the person Lu Gui was about to kill. This, however, the people who followed Lu Gui's gaze to look at Duan Lingtian were just like Lu Gui. They were dumbstruck. It was as though they had seen something that shocked them. What's wrong with them? Xiong Quan, who was worried about Duan Lingtian, glanced at Duan Lingtian before looking at the others. He realized, including Lu Bai, the second young master of the Lu clan, other than him and Feng Tianwu who was lying in the ice coffin, everyone else looked at their young master in a daze. Could it be because of the flame that rose from young master's hand? Soon after, Xiong Quan seemed to have realized something. He stared at the flame that rose from Duan Lingtian's hand. If there was anything different about his young master compared to before, it was just that there was a flame in his hand. Is that a pill fire? Xiong Quan could vaguely guess. However, he could not tell what grade the pill fire in Duan Lingtian's hand was. Duan Lingtian. He, Lu Bai, who was standing in the distance, felt the force restraining him disappear along with Lu Gui. However, he did not seem to notice it at all. He looked at Duan Lingtian in a daze. To be more precise, he was looking at the flame that rose from Duan Lingtian's hand. As the second young master of the Lu clan, an alchemist family, he could recognize the pill fire with just one glance. Purple pill fire with golden edges. Is that the violet gold pill fire? A grade 1 pill fire. Lu Bai's eyes narrowed. Shock and disbelief were written all over his face. He did not expect this to happen even in his wildest dreams. Is that the violet gold pill fire? I think it's the violet gold pill fire. It's a grade 1 pill fire. An alchemist who can condense grade 1 pill fire is undoubtedly a grade 1 alchemist. This Duan Lingtian is a grade 1 alchemist? How is this possible? As Lu Bai came back to his senses, a small portion of the people present also came back to their senses one by one. Discussions broke out among them. Each and every one of them had a look of disbelief on their faces. At this moment, their gazes towards Duan Lingtian were filled with shock and awe. He was shocked by Duan Lingtian's attainments in the Tao of medicine refinement. They were in awe of Duan Lingtian's identity. Grade 1 alchemist. High up in the sky, the anger on the faces of the two old men, who were originally filled with rage and itching to kill Duan Lingtian, had completely disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by a solemn expression. Whoosh! Whoosh! Then they hurriedly flew down and landed in front of Duan Lingtian, staring blankly at the wisp of flame in Duan Lingtian's hand. It really is the violet gold pill fire. Lu Yuan exclaimed in shock. His round, chubby face trembled. His little eyes widened as he exclaimed, Grade 1 pill fire. Is he really a Grade 1 alchemist? At this moment, Lu Gui, who was staring blankly at the purple flame with golden edges in Duan Lingtian's hand, muttered to himself, What? Elder Yuan and Elder Gui are worried that I'm faking it and pretending to be a Grade 1 alchemist? Duan Lingtian asked nonchalantly as he narrowed his eyes. Duan Lingtian's words were like two giant hammers that slammed heavily on Lu Yuan and Lu Gui's chests. Their bodies trembled as they came back to their senses. Lu Yuan and Lu Gui were the Lu clan's two great guardian elders. They were at the martial monarch stage. Now that they had confirmed Duan Lingtian's identity, the way they looked at Duan Lingtian was completely different. There was less disdain and more respect. Greetings, master. Greetings, master. As the guardian elders of the Lu clan, an alchemist family, they were influenced by the Lu clan's environment. They had a completely different feeling toward a Grade 1 alchemist compared to ordinary people. In their eyes, a Grade 1 alchemist was someone they had to look up to. They were not qualified to offend, even if they were martial monarch powerhouses. On the Cloud Continent, any Grade 1 alchemist had an extremely shocking influence. As long as a Grade 1 alchemist was willing, they only needed to promise that they could customize a Grade 1 spirit weapon for the person who killed them. That was enough to tempt many people who were stronger than them. At that time, they would definitely become the target of public criticism and even be annihilated. All in all, it was just one sentence. They could not afford to offend a Grade 1 alchemist. Of course, they did not immediately admit defeat after Duan Lingtian revealed his identity as a Grade 1 alchemist. It was not because they were afraid of getting into trouble. They were more concerned about the Lu clan. The Lu clan was an alchemist family. If they offended a Grade 1 alchemist, people would laugh their heads off and say that the Lu clan was as blind as a bat. If this Grade 1 alchemist really wanted to make a fuss with the Lu clan, even if the Lu clan was protected by a first-rate force in the inner land and could survive, they would still be in chaos. Of course, they could choose to take the risk and kill this Grade 1 alchemist who might not be as strong as them. However, they would have to face a crisis at any time. No matter how eccentric a Grade 1 alchemist was, it was impossible for him not to have helped someone refine a Grade 1 spirit weapon before. The network of connections developed by a Grade 1 alchemist was enough to cause chaos in the Lu clan as well. Once that happened, the two of them would be dead for sure. Nobody knew the influence of a Grade 1 alchemist better than the Lu clan. The Lu clan was able to survive for 10,000 years because of the dozens of Grade 1 alchemists in history. What? You're not going to kill me? Duan Lingtian sneered. We dare not. We dare not. Lu Yuan and Lu Gui, the two martial monarch powerhouses who were standing in the air and looking down at Duan Lingtian, as if he was an ant, were terrified when they faced Duan Lingtian. They were like mice that saw a cat. Duan Lingtian is actually a Grade 1 alchemist. Oh my god, how old is he? Previously, he killed the Lu clan's elder Lu Zhao, who was at the 8th level void transformation stage with just a single blow. For him to possess such strength at such a young age, his innate talent in the martial Tao can be considered as monstrous. The problem is, other than his talent in martial Tao, his talent in refining medicine is even more monstrous. He's already a Grade 1 alchemist at such a young age. If I didn't know that it's almost impossible for a demon to become an alchemist, I wouldn't believe he's a human like us. At this moment, everyone regained their senses. Their hearts were filled with shock as they discussed among themselves. How's this possible? The green-clad middle-aged man standing next to Lu Zhao's body was stunned. Like his two companions, he could not believe what he had just seen. Duan Lingtian is actually a Grade 1 alchemist? If one were to ask who among the people present, it would be none other than Huang Chun. Huang Chun and Duan Lingtian could be considered as friends. They had a good time interacting with each other. However, due to his wrong decision, he had ruined his friendship with Duan Lingtian. A single mistake could cause everlasting regret. There was nothing more to it than this. At this moment, even if Huang Chun was filled with regret, it was too late. It was too late. There was no medicine for regret in this world. Grade 1 alchemist? Young master is a grade 1 alchemist? Xiong Quan's eyes lit up. His face was filled with joy. No wonder young master said he would be fine. He's a grade 1 alchemist. A grade 1 alchemist was one of the two types of people who could get away with killing a direct descendant of the Lu clan. Duan Lingtian. At this moment the Lu clan's second young master, Lu Bai, walked towards Duan Lingtian with bright eyes. You're actually a grade 1 alchemist. You've really kept this a secret from me for a long time. Lu Bai's tone was filled with resentment when he spoke. Duan Lingtian smiled faintly when he saw Lu Bai. I don't think you asked me, right? If I knew you were a grade 1 alchemist, I wouldn't have to worry about you at all. Lu Bai smiled wryly. Earlier, his heart was in his mouth. He was worried that he would not be able to answer to his savior. After all, Duan Lingtian was with the person who saved his life. It was obvious the relationship between the two of them was not simple. That's right. I still remember. You told me earlier that the reason you came to our Lu clan this time is because you want to be a revered elder or an external elder in our Lu clan. Suddenly, Lu Bai seemed to have recalled something. He stared at Duan Lingtian with bright eyes as though he was looking at a peerless treasure. Revered elder? Interim elder? The moment Lu Bai's words left his mouth, Lu Yuan and Lu Gui, who were standing not far away from Duan Lingtian, heard Lu Bai's words. Their eyes lit up immediately, and their faces were filled with joy. They immediately looked at Duan Lingtian with burning eyes. If this young man before them could become a revered elder or an interim elder of their Lu clan, it would undoubtedly be a blessing to the Lu clan. This was a grade 1 alchemist. In the history of the Lu clan, the last grade 1 alchemist could be traced back to almost 1,000 years ago. In the past few hundred years, there had never been a grade 1 alchemist. Now that I heard the Lu clan's second young master's words, I remember. Duan Lingtian said he wanted to be a revered elder or an interim elder in the Lu clan. He did say that. I heard it too. However, at that time I thought he was just bragging. Me too. I thought he was just bragging. After all, to be a revered elder or an interim elder of the Lu clan, one has to be a martial monarch powerhouse or a grade 2 alchemist or above. At that time I didn't think he was qualified at all. Who would have thought that not only was he a grade 2 alchemist or above, but he was also a grade 1 alchemist? After being reminded by Lu Bai, many people recalled that Duan Lingtian had indeed said that. Master. Chapter 1069. Initially, when Duan Lingtian said he came to the Lu clan to become a revered elder or an interim advisor, Lu So, like the others, thought Duan Lingtian was bragging. When Duan Lingtian ignored his and the Lu clan's second young master's advice and resolutely killed the Lu clan's third young master, Lu Huai, the first thought that rose in Lu So's mind was undoubtedly, Duan Lingtian is doomed. When the two Lu clan's guardian elders appeared and targeted Duan Lingtian for the death of the Lu clan's third young master, Lu Huai, and the second young master, Lu Bai, failed to plead for mercy, Lu So did not think Duan Lingtian would survive. However, the development of the situation was completely out of his expectations. When their Lu clan's guardian elder Lu Gui was about to make his move to kill Duan Lingtian condensed a wisp of pill fire in the nick of time. Violet gold pill fire. Grade 1 pill fire. He forcefully revealed his noble identity as a grade 1 alchemist and completely turned the situation around. Not only did he survive, but he also gained the respect of everyone present. Grade 1 alchemist. Just this title alone was equivalent to a death exemption card in front of a second-rate force like the Lu clan. Now this terrifyingly young grade 1 alchemist had the intention to join the Lu clan and become their Lu clan's revered elder or interim advisor. How could he not be excited and excited? Once this grade 1 alchemist joined the Lu clan, he might be able to ask some questions about medicine refinement since he was on the second young master's side. Perhaps he might be able to make a breakthrough and become a grade 2 alchemist with the guidance of this grade 1 alchemist. There were many grade 3 alchemists in the Lu clan, but there were only a handful of grade 2 alchemists. Once he became a grade 2 alchemist, it would mean that he would soar to the sky. Lu So looked at Duan Lingtian eagerly, waiting for his response. Now while he was feeling nervous, he kept praying. He could only hope that this first-grade medicine refinement master would not have any negative opinion of the Lu clan because of the unpleasant incident just now, and dispel the idea of becoming a guest elder of the Lu clan. Right now, Lu So wasn't the only one feeling uneasy. Everyone in the Lu clan, including Lu Yuan and Lu Gue, the two Lu clan's guardian elders, felt a little uneasy. Duan Lingtian. Lu Bai stared at Duan Lingtian with a face full of anticipation. After what happened earlier, I wonder if Master Duan Lingtian is still willing to join the Lu clan and become their interim advisor or revered elder. Everyone present looked at Duan Lingtian one after another. They were also filled with curiosity. Of course, most people's eyes were filled with anticipation and hope. These people were very confident in their attainments in the medicine refinement Dao. They felt that they would definitely be able to pass the alchemist competition and join the Lu clan. Now, they subconsciously considered themselves as disciples of the Lu family with a different surname. In their opinion, if this first-grade medicine refinement master really became a guest elder of the Lu clan, perhaps they would have the opportunity to ask him some questions about the medicine refinement Dao in the future. Perhaps I should reconsider. Just now, those two wanted to take my life. After Duan Lingtian glanced at Lu Bai, he looked at Lu Yuan and Lu Gue again. His eyes narrowed subconsciously, and a faint smile appeared on the corner of his lips. Lu Bai's expression changed when he heard this. Elder Yuan, Elder Gue, I hope the two of you will apologize to Duan Lingtian. If the Lu clan loses a first-grade medicine refinement master because of your rudeness, you'll be the sinners of the Lu clan. Lu Bai looked at Lu Yuan and Lu Gue immediately and shouted at them, disregarding the situation. Currently, he had completely disregarded Lu Yuan and Lu Gue's high status in the Lu clan. All he knew was that he had to make Duan Lingtian stay and become a guest elder of the Lu clan. If it was any other time, Lu Yuan and Lu Gue would definitely be displeased if Lu Bai shouted at them in public. However, they were not displeased at all today. Moreover, as soon as Lu Bai finished speaking, Lu Yuan and Lu Gue had already bowed to Duan Lingtian tacitly and said in unison, "Please forgive us, Master. If Master is willing to join our Lu clan, both of us will definitely do our best to fulfill your orders. Even if Master wants to punish us, we won't say a word." A first-grade medicine refinement master was too important to the Lu clan. Due to this reason, Lu Yuan and Lu Gue, the two Lu clan's guardian elders who were at the martial monarch stage, were willing to bow and apologize to Duan Lingtian, a first-grade medicine refinement master. It seems like the Lu clan's 10,000 years of history and strength is not entirely because of the protection from the first-rate forces in the inner land. It's really rare for the Lu clan to go this far for the sake of the Lu clan. That's right. As Lu clan's guardian elders and martial monarch powerhouses, they're willing to bow and scrape in order to get a first-grade medicine refinement master for the Lu clan. Not many forces martial monarch powerhouses can do this. The people present on the scene whispered among themselves as they praised the Lu clan's courage. At the same time, they stared at Duan Lingtian intently. They wanted to know if Lu Yuan and Lu Gue would be willing to join the Lu clan and become the Lu clan's revered elder or interim advisor since they were so sincere. Suddenly, the air in the distance stirred. Following that, a loud voice resonated in the air. The clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rue, together with guardian elder Lu Ji, and a group of elders greets Master Duan. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, a strong and handsome middle-aged man in a green robe and an old man in a red robe walked side by side. They brought more than 10 old men and middle-aged men with them. In just a blink of an eye, they landed on the ground and stood next to Lu Yuan and Lu Gue. They looked at Duan Lingtian in awe. It's the clan leader of Lu clan. There's another guardian elder from Lu clan as well. Oh my god. The patriarch of the Lu clan and the 3 guardian elders had all arrived. It's rare to see such a scene. All of this is because of Master Duan Lingtian. A first-grade medicine refinement master means a lot to the Lu clan. The Lu clan will definitely fight for him at all costs. After the crowd recovered from their shock, They began to discuss among themselves. Their words pushed Duan Lingtian's status as a first-grade medicine refinement master to a whole new level. Clan leader Lu, Elder Lu Ji. Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed as he greeted Lu Rui and Lu Ji. Then, he looked at the group of Lu clan's elders behind them, and nodded slightly as a form of greeting. Duan Lingtian was not surprised by the arrival of the group of Lu clan's senior officials. As soon as he revealed his grade 1 pill fire, he noticed the Lu clansman who had called Lu Yuan and Lu Ji over had left quietly. It was obvious that the group of senior officials led by the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, was also called over by him. Master Duan is really a rare genius. Not only is his martial Dao cultivation base extraordinary, but he has also achieved great things in the medicine refinement Dao. He's already a grade 1 medicine refinement master. How admirable, Lu Rui praised. His words came from the bottom of his heart without any falsehood. Such a young man with extraordinary martial Dao cultivation base, and a grade 1 medicine refinement master. Even though he was the clan leader of Lu clan, he could not help but feel shocked. Master Duan, please forgive the Lu clan's juniors for offending you. If Master Duan doesn't mind, please come to our Lu clan's estate for a chat. We'll definitely treat Master Duan as a VIP, and offer you an apology gift. Lu Ji added. The moment Lu Ji's words left his mouth, the entire place fell silent. Everyone present knew the ins and outs of today's matter clearly. Duan Lingtian had first killed a Lu clan's elder, and then killed the Lu clan's third young master. It was fine if it was the former, but the latter was a noble lineal disciple of the Lu clan. He was not someone who could be killed just like that. Even if Duan Lingtian was in the right today, it was still not enough. It was precisely because of this that the two Lu clan's guardian elders had arrived and wanted to kill Duan Lingtian without asking for the reason. However, after Duan Lingtian revealed his identity as a grade 1 alchemist, there was an earth-shattering change in all of this. First, the two Lu clan's guardian elders apologized sincerely. Then, the clan leader of Lu clan and another guardian elder led the group of Lu clan's elders to the scene. Guardian Elder Lu Ji was the representative to apologize to Duan Lingtian. Based on their words, they even wanted to treat Duan Lingtian, the person who had killed their Lu clan's lineal disciple, as a VIP and offer him an apology gift. Everyone present felt like they could not keep up with the development of the situation. When they finally regained their senses, they were enlightened. They knew all this was because Duan Lingtian had revealed his identity after he had condensed a grade 1 pill fire. Grade 1 Medicine Refinement Master. Clan Leader Elder Ji. At this moment the Lu clan's second young master Lu Bai walked up to Lu Rui and Lu Ji and whispered something. When he spoke, Lu Rui and Lu Ji's eyes lit up. They were pleasantly surprised. It seems like the Lu clan's second young master has told the clan leader that Master Duan intends to join the Lu clan and become the Lu clan's foreign elder or revered elder. That must be it. Many people speculated secretly. What happened next proved that they had guessed correctly. Master Duan, if you're willing to join our Lu clan, we're willing to make you the first foreign elder. In the future, if Master Duan needs anything, the Lu clan will do our best to help you. The clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, cupped his hands and bowed to Duan Lingtian as he said sincerely, Master Duan, please join the Lu clan and become the Lu clan's foreign elder. Then the Lu clan's guardian elder Lu Ji led the group of Lu clan's elders and bowed respectfully. They invited Duan Lingtian to become the Lu clan's foreign elder with the highest position. At this moment Lu Bai, Lu So, Lu Yuan, and Lu Gui bowed and said, Master Duan, please join the Lu clan. Everyone from the Lu clan bowed and sincerely invited Duan Lingtian to join the Lu clan. The scene fell into a dead silence again. For the people present. Chapter 1070. A young man who looked like he was in his 20s made the high-ranking officials of the Lu clan, one of the two most powerful forces in the northern mountain land, bow to him. They only wanted to invite him to join the Lu clan and become the Lu clan's first interim advisor. Faced with the sincere invitation from the Lu clan senior officials, Duan Lingtian remained calm. His expression would not change even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of him. It was as though he was not the one who was invited. At this moment, Duan Lingtian was still thinking about the words that the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, said earlier. If Master Duan needs anything in the future, the Lu clan will do our best to help you. Was this not the reason he came to the Lu clan? Since the clan leader of Lu clan and the elders are so sincere, and Lu Bai is my friend, it would be unreasonable for me to reject them. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Duan Lingtian finally opened his mouth slowly. Initially he was just going with the flow, but now he was doing Lu Bai a favor. He agreed. As expected. The moment his words left his mouth, the Lu clan's high-ranking officials turned to look at Lu Bai, making him the center of attention. Lu Bai, you're very good. The clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, nodded slightly as he looked at Lu Bai. There was a hint of admiration in his eyes. For a moment, Lu Bai could not help but feel a little terrified. Although he was the second young master of the Lu clan, he was only ranked second among the direct descendants of the Lu clan. In terms of relationship, the clan leader of Lu clan was only his uncle. The direct descendants of Lu clan were ranked according to their age. Up until now, they were already ranked in the 20s. Lu Bai was ranked second, the second young master of Lu clan. The next successor to the clan leader of Lu clan would be chosen from the 20 of them. Up until now, the people who had the highest chance of inheriting the Lu clan's business were none other than Lu Bai, the second young master of Lu clan, and the first young master of Lu clan, Lu Song. Now that Lu Bai was praised by the clan leader of Lu clan, it meant he was one step closer to becoming the next clan leader. When the second young master was very young, I could already tell he was not as simple as he seemed. He was a talented general. Seems like I was right. This time, he can be considered to have won over a great benefactor for our Lu clan. With the relationship between second young master and Master Duan, if he were to inherit the position of patriarch in the future, why would our Lu family worry about not prospering? You're right. At this moment, many of the Lu clan's elders began to flatter Lu Bai. The elder who was originally on Lu Bai's side took advantage of the opportunity and bluntly said that Lu Bai would bring benefits to the Lu clan if he became the next clan leader. As for the elders who stood on the side of the Lu clan's first young master, Lu Song, they looked at each other and smiled wryly. If it was any other time, when they heard these sworn enemies flatter the second young master Lu Bai like this, they would definitely mock and ridicule him. But now they didn't dare to do so. Who knew if that great Master Duan would flick his sleeves and leave because of their lack of tact? After all, he was a friend of the second young master Lu Bai, and they seemed to have a good relationship. They did not want to become the sinner of the Lu family, so they could only shut their mouths obediently. At the same time, some of them broke out in cold sweat as they thought about whether they should abandon their old master and pledge their allegiance to the second young master, Lu Bai. After all, the current second young master, Lu Bai, had become a grade 1 alchemist. His status in the Lu clan was destined to rise. Even the clan leader and the 3 guardian elders with the highest position in the Lu clan would pay more attention to him since he was in a weaker position in the past. When he heard the Lu clan's elders who were neutral in the past and did not stand on his side and Lu Song's side flattering him, it was obvious that they were going to pledge their allegiance. Lu Bai could not help but smile wryly to himself. He did not expect Duan Lingtian's words would be more useful than his 10 years of operation. He had only managed to get some of the Lu clan's elders to side with him after 10 years of operation. Lu Bai felt relieved when he thought about it again. Duan Lingtian was a grade 1 alchemist after all. To the Lu clan, he was a high and mighty existence that could not be disrespected. One could imagine, if he was a grade 1 alchemist, he would not have to compete with Lu Song anymore. Even if he wanted the current clan leader to step down and become the clan leader immediately, no one in the Lu clan would have any objections, let alone the fact that he did not have to fight with Lu Song. In the Lu clan, no matter who it was, once they broke through and became a grade 1 alchemist, their status in the Lu clan would be above everyone else. If he said 1, no one in the Lu clan would dare to say 2. This included the clan leader and the other martial monarch powerhouses in the Lu clan. The Lu clan had been passed down for 10,000 years. The earliest rule passed down from their ancestors was this: a grade 1 alchemist, regardless of whether he was a direct descendant or a collateral descendant, had a high status that was above everyone in the Lu clan. The descendants were not allowed to disobey. Perhaps it was because of this that the Lu clan's members reacted like a mouse that saw a cat when they saw a grade 1 alchemist. But I think I killed the third young master of the Lu clan earlier? I don't think I'll be punished after I become the Lu clan's interim elder, right? Duan Lingtian's words came out of nowhere when the Lu clan's members were still excited. It was as though he had poured a bucket of cold water on the Lu clan's members who were taking a hot bath. This caused them to tremble all over, and with a start they came back to their senses. Of course not. The clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, was the first to snap back to reality. He shook his head and expressed his opinion. That kid Lu Hui has always been a troublemaker. I think if he didn't take the initiative to offend you, Elder Duan, you wouldn't have killed him. Lu Ji, the Lu clan's guardian elder, who was standing next to Lu Rui, chimed in. Lu Ji had already addressed Duan Lingtian as Elder Duan. From the moment Duan Lingtian agreed to become the Lu clan's interim elder, he was already an elder of the Lu clan with a high status. It was just as Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan, had said. He was the Lu clan's first interim elder. In terms of status, even Lu Rui had to be respectful to him and did not dare to slight him. With his current status in the Lu clan, to a certain extent he was above everyone else. That's right. That kid Lu Hui didn't look like a good person in the past. Elder Duan, you did the right thing by killing him. You've gotten rid of a scourge for our Lu clan. Another guardian elder, Lu Yuan, chimed in. That's right, Elder Duan. We can't thank you enough for getting rid of the scourge for the Lu clan. How could we possibly punish you? Previously, guardian elder Lu Gui, who was still clamoring about personally attacking Duan Lingtian and killing him to avenge Lu Hui, had a completely different expression now. The speed at which he changed his expression stunned everyone present. However, no one dared to say a single word of gossip. What a joke. They were not like Duan Lingtian, who was a grade 1 alchemist. If they dared to gossip about the Lu clan's guardian elder, he might not be able to make a move on them due to his reputation. However, he would definitely not let them go once he had the chance. If the cloud continent is compared to the starry sky and the people on the cloud continent are compared to the stars in the starry sky, young master is undoubtedly the brightest star. Xiong Quan stood in the distance with a big smile on his face. He was proud to be able to follow such a young master. However, when he thought about it again, he could not help but feel a little discouraged when he thought about his insignificant strength. With his current strength, he could not help the young master at all. He could only drag him down. Hopefully, I'll be able to elevate my strength by relying on the Lu clan this time. According to young master, other than using spirit fruits to elevate my cultivation base, I can also elevate the sword concept that I've comprehended with the profound assimilation formation. At this moment, Xiong Quan recalled what Duan Lingtian had said to him not long ago. This Lu clan must have spirit fruits and that profound assimilation formation or something, right? Xiong Quan was a little anxious when he thought about this. That's good then. Although Duan Lingtian had already guessed that the Lu clan's senior officials would not punish him after he revealed his identity as a grade 1 alchemist, he was still secretly pleased when he heard what they said. He did not expect this at all. He did not expect his identity as a grade 1 alchemist to be so useful. Of course, this is also because the Lu clan is an alchemist clan. If it was other clans like the Lu clan, they might not be so polite to me. Duan Lingtian knew this very well. Elder Duan, you must be tired from the journey. Please go into the mansion to rest. Lu Rui greeted Duan Lingtian enthusiastically before he looked at Lu Bai. Let Lu Bai bring you there. There's no hurry. I still want to watch the alchemist competition. Duan Lingtian shook his head. Although it was impossible for him to participate in the alchemist competition organized by the Lu clan, he was still very interested in watching from the side. This was the first time he had ever seen an alchemist competition in his life. He was curious and looking forward to it. He was curious about how the winner of the alchemist competition would be decided. He was also curious about the level of the alchemists from the foreign lands. He was looking forward to seeing the group of alchemists present. It was his first time seeing so many alchemists. Since you're so interested, Elder Duan will accompany you. Lu Rui smiled at Duan Lingtian. The Lu clan senior officials nodded one by one. They did not have any objections, and they did not dare to have any objections. Clan leader elders, I'm just looking around. All of you should go back and rest first. Duan Lingtian could not take it when he saw the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, leading the group of senior officials being so enthusiastic. Elder Duan, the reason why we want to stay is because we want to see you evaluate the level of these little fellows. I think since you're here, you'll be the main judge of the alchemist competition. Lu Ji smiled at Duan Lingtian. However, in Duan Lingtian's eyes, the smile on his face seemed like the smile of an old fox. That's right, Elder Duan. We want to see you evaluate these little fellows. Chapter 1071. As soon as Duan Lingtian finished speaking, the group of Lu clan's elders chimed in one after another before Duan Lingtian could even refuse. Duan Lingtian did not even have the chance to refuse. At the same time, the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, and the other two Lu clan's guardian elders were also looking at him expectantly. How could he refuse? Of course, if he was really determined to refuse, he could still refuse. However, when he thought about the benefits he would receive from the Lu clan in the future, he dismissed the thought of refusing. I'll join in the fun then. Duan Lingtian nodded and agreed to it. To him, being the main judge of the alchemist competition held by the Lu clan was not stressful at all. Moreover, he would be able to observe the alchemist techniques up close. Although he had never seriously studied the medicine refinement Tao, the memory of refining medicine left behind by the reincarnation Emperor Wu was enough for him to do whatever he wanted on Cloud Continent. In fact, the reincarnation Emperor Wu was a royal grade alchemist who was superior to a grade 1 alchemist. As someone who had merged with the memory of a royal grade alchemist, it was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to evaluate the medicine refinement skills of a group of grade 5 and grade 6 alchemists. Duan Lingtian initially wanted to refuse because he was afraid of trouble. However, even if he was afraid of trouble, he had no choice but to accept it. As the saying went, when you eat from someone you have to admit it. Although he had not received any benefits from the Lu clan yet, he would definitely do so in the future. After all, that was the main reason he joined the Lu clan. Stop right there. Suddenly, a loud voice entered Duan Lingtian's ears. It shocked Duan Lingtian so much that he could not help but look at the person who had shouted, Lu Bai. Soon after, Duan Lingtian realized the person who had shouted was the Lu clan's second young master, Lu Bai. Lu Bai had shouted at the three middle-aged men who were sneaking away. When Duan Lingtian followed Lu Bai's gaze and saw the three people, he recognized them at a glance. These three people were none other than the three middle-aged men who had insulted Feng Qianwu lying in the ice coffin outside the Lu family. They had been injured by him at that time. In the end, the three of them wanted to seek revenge. The green-clad middle-aged man colluded with the Lu clan's elder, Lu Zhao, to expel him from the alchemist competition. Unfortunately, they did not succeed. In the end, even Lu Zhao died at his hands. After that, Duan Lingtian no longer bothered with the three of them. Naturally, it was also because he was busy dealing with the Lu clan's third young master, Lu Huai, that he did not have the time to bother with them. Now that everything had come to an end, he had become the Lu clan's interim elder as he wished. The three middle-aged men clearly wanted to leave after seeing that he had gained the upper hand. However, was there such a good thing in the world? Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed coldly as he looked at the three middle-aged men. His face darkened slightly. When Lu Bai shouted, everyone present, including Duan Lingtian, shifted their attention to the three of them. The three of them froze as though they had turned into statues. Spare our lives, Lord Duan Lingtian. Soon after, one of them turned around and knelt on the ground with a thud. He kowtowed to Duan Lingtian and begged for mercy. Spare our lives, Lord Duan Lingtian. This has nothing to do with me. The other person kneeled and kowtowed as well. Now, only the green-clad middle-aged man was left. He turned around and stood there, glaring at Duan Lingtian, the person who killed his uncle, with hatred. Humph! Do you think you can stare at Elder Duan with your filthy eyes? At that moment, a loud shout reverberated in the air. Then Duan Lingtian felt a gust of wind blowing past him. It was obvious that someone had brushed past him. The speed was so fast that he could not react in time. Boom! When he regained his senses, he immediately heard a loud explosion. Then, he saw a figure that resembled a bamboo pole where the green-clad middle-aged man was standing. It was none other than Lu Gui, one of the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders. In the air not far from Lu Gui, the blood mist dispersed, and the green-clad middle-aged man disappeared without a trace. Duan Lingtian knew very well that the green-clad middle-aged man was dead. The green-clothed middle-aged man was already dead, killed by Lu Gui's power. The blood mist that filled the sky was left behind after his body exploded. Lu Gui, the Lu clan's guardian elder, was a martial monarch powerhouse. He had killed the green-clad middle-aged man effortlessly. He did not even have the time to use the heaven and earth energy before the green-clad middle-aged man was gone. He had completely disappeared from this world. Spare our lives, Lord Duan Lingtian. Spare our lives, Lord Duan Lingtian. Spare our lives, Elder Gui. Spare our lives, Elder Gui. The remaining 2 middle-aged men were horrified when they saw their companion was gone. They kowtowed and begged for mercy with fear in their eyes. Soon their heads were bleeding. Elder Duan, how should we deal with them? Lu Gui turned around and looked at Duan Lingtian with a forced smile on his face. However, his face was so skinny that it looked worse when he smiled than when he cried. Whatever. Duan Lingtian shrugged and said nonchalantly. At the same time, he withdrew his gaze and did not look at the 2 middle-aged men anymore. He ignored them as though they were invisible. Lu Gui was stunned before he looked at the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. Those who offended Elder Duan don't deserve to live in this world. Lu Rui's tone was calm and emotionless. No, the moment Lu Rui's words left his mouth, the 2 middle-aged men who were kneeling on the ground trembled. They raised their heads abruptly, and their expressions changed drastically. Boom! Almost as soon as they raised their heads, a loud explosion reverberated in the air like a thunderclap. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, they followed in the green-clad middle-aged man's footsteps and turned into a blood mist that filled the air. They completely disappeared from this world. Gasp! 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 For a moment, the group of alchemists who came to participate in the alchemist competition could not help but gasp. Their eyes were filled with respect when they looked at Duan Lingtian again. After Elder Duan joined the Lu clan, his position in the Lu clan is even higher than the clan leader of Lu clan. Someone could not help but exclaim, "This is normal. After all, he's a grade 1 alchemist." Some people must be regretting it to death right now, right? Many people whispered among themselves. Some of them could not help but look at a middle-aged man who was standing nearby. The middle-aged man stood there with a grave expression on his face. I remember this person. He had a good chat with Duan Lingtian and became friends with him. However, when Duan Lingtian was targeted by the Lu clan's elder, Lu Zhao, he avoided Duan Lingtian like he was the plague. I remember him too. At that time he said he didn't know Duan Lingtian. In just a blink of an eye, Duan Lingtian revealed his identity as a grade 1 alchemist and rose to the top. If he didn't do that, he might have risen to the top along with Duan Lingtian. That's fate. Some people don't lack opportunities, but they can only watch and sigh in the end because they didn't seize them. More and more people began to discuss among themselves. There was a hint of pity in their eyes when they looked at the middle-aged man. Some of them even had a gloating expression on their faces. The middle-aged man was none other than Huang Chun. As Huang Chun stood there, the discussions around him pierced his ears like sharp needles, causing his body to tremble uncontrollably. These discussions were undoubtedly tearing at his scars. His heart was already filled with regret. When he heard these people's mockery, it was like adding fuel to the fire, causing him to feel even more remorseful. Why did I do that? If I didn't do that, I might be able to join the Lu clan and become a Lu clan's disciple without participating in the alchemist competition. At the same time, his heart was filled with self-blame. Whoosh! In the end, he could no longer endure it. He soared into the air and disappeared before everyone's eyes in just a blink of an eye. It was obvious he did not want to participate in the alchemist competition anymore. Duan Lingtian saw Huang Chun's departure, but he was not affected at all. He could understand why Huang Chun had abandoned him earlier to protect himself. However, Huang Chun later said he did not know him. When Huang Chun said those words, he acted as though he did not know Huang Chun at all. Therefore, he was not affected by Huang Chun's departure. The alchemist competition has begun. The people present on the scene snapped back to their senses and stopped discussing Huang Chun, who had just left. It's about to begin. In the history of the Lu clan's alchemist competition, I don't think there has ever been a grade 1 alchemist referee. Even if I'm eliminated today, it's not a waste to come here today. Being eliminated by a tier 1 alchemist, even if news of this were to spread, it would be enough to make people jealous. The group of alchemists discussed excitedly. Duan Lingtian was a little speechless when he heard the discussion. As for the Lu clan's high-ranking officials, they could understand this. Even if they were in the shoes of the alchemists who came to participate in the alchemist competition, they would also think the same. Soon after, the alchemist competition began. The alchemist competition was divided into the preliminary round, the semifinals, and the final round. Half of the people would be eliminated in the preliminary round. The remaining 30 people would be eliminated in the semifinals. They would be the ones who could join the Lu clan. The final round would determine the exact ranking of the 30 people, and they would be rewarded by the Lu clan. In the alchemist competition, regardless of whether it was the preliminary round, the semifinals, or the final round, a group of people would refine the same pills. In the end, the chief judge, Duan Lingtian, would personally examine the pills. In the past, the alchemist competition organized by the Lu clan would only examine the purity of the pills. Duan Lingtian, on the other hand, would not stop there. Apart from examining the purity of the pills refined by a group of people, he would also observe the profundity of their techniques and determine who was better. In the beginning, it was not a big deal for Duan Lingtian to do this during the preliminary round. However, when it came to the semifinals, there were people who were dissatisfied. Elder Duan, the purity of the pills he refined is obviously not as good as mine. Why did he advance while I was eliminated? Chapter 1072. The crowd was in an uproar when the alchemist questioned Duan Lingtian. Someone dared to question a grade 1 alchemist? Everyone, including Xiong Quan, shifted their attention to Duan Lingtian before they shifted their attention to the identical pills on the table in front of the two alchemists. The purity of the pills he refined is indeed higher than that person. Why did Elder Duan eliminate him and allow the other person to advance? The group of alchemists participating in the competition was puzzled. What's going on? They were not the only ones who were puzzled. Even the group of Lu clan members led by the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, was puzzled. Some of them were not alchemists, but they were from alchemist clans. Even if they were not alchemists, they could still distinguish the purity of the pills. They could tell. The purity of the medicinal pill refined by the alchemist who questioned Duan Lingtian was indeed higher. Elder Duan, I'm indeed not as good as him in terms of pill purity. The alchemist who was allowed to advance by Duan Lingtian looked at Duan Lingtian with a wry smile on his face. The moment he said that, the alchemist who questioned Duan Lingtian became even more smug. Elder Duan, I know you're a grade 1 alchemist, and I'm not as good as you in terms of refining pills. However, your taste seems to be what? Before the alchemist could finish his sentence, Duan Lingtian interrupted him. At the same time, he glanced at the alchemist nonchalantly. Do you think you're better than him in terms of refining pills just because you can refine pills with higher purity? Or perhaps, the alchemist competition organized by the Lu clan is only a competition of pill purity, and not a competition of refining pills? When Duan Lingtian reached the end of his sentence, he glanced at the group of Lu clan members led by the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. It was obvious he was asking them. Of course, refining pills of the same type would be judged based on purity. Otherwise, what else can we judge based on? The alchemist who was interrupted by Duan Lingtian said matter-of-factly, Do all of you think so as well? Duan Lingtian glanced at the participating alchemists before he shifted his gaze to the group of Lu clan members. Soon after, he received his answer. Whether it was the participating alchemists or the group of Lu clan members, all of them nodded. It was obvious they thought so as well. We're interested to know if Elder Duan has other methods to judge the level of refining pills. Perhaps Elder Duan will surprise us. Lu Rui said loudly. The reason he said this was because he saw the confidence and fearlessness in Duan Lingtian's eyes. He subconsciously believed that Duan Lingtian had other methods to judge the level of medicine refinement. As soon as Duan Lingtian immediately. Young. At this moment, even Xiong Quan was looking at Duan Lingtian in anticipation. He believed Duan Lingtian was Duan Dun Lingtian to. Duan Lingtian said calmly as he withdrew his gaze from the crowd. If someone else had said this, they would have been torn to shreds as soon as they finished speaking. However, when these words came out of Duan Lingtian's mouth, they found it hard to believe. At the same time, they were anticipating what Duan Lingtian was going to say next. However, they soon realized Duan Lingtian had no intention of explaining himself. The two of you refine that medicinal pill again. This time I will teach the two of you a little trick. This little trick can increase the purity of the pills you refine to a certain extent. Duan Lingtian said calmly as he looked at the two alchemists next to him. When you refine the pills, subsequently, Duan Lingtian revealed his little trick on the spot without any hesitation. His words were clearly heard by everyone present, as if he was not worried at all about revealing this secret in front of so many people. Press your palm on the cauldron, and when the cauldron produces the pills, the pill fire in your palm will form a barrier that allows the pills to pass through. This was the trick Duan Lingtian told them. This trick was normal to Duan Lingtian, but it was new to the other alchemists. Alright, I'll refine according to Elder Duan's instructions. If the purity of the medicinal pill I refine this time surpasses his again, what will you say, Elder Duan? The alchemist who was not convinced asked Duan Lingtian. If you can defeat him again, he'll be eliminated and you'll advance, Duan Lingtian said casually. His eyes were calm as though he did not think this alchemist would be able to defeat the other alchemist. Elder Duan, you have so much confidence in me? The other alchemist was greatly shaken. In an instant, his expression became incomparably solemn and serious. Then, he took a deep breath and said seriously to Duan Lingtian, Elder Duan, I won't disappoint you. There's no need to be nervous. Just maintain your previous standard. Of course, remember to use the little trick I told you earlier. Although the purity of the pills won't increase by much, it won't be little either. That's right, Duan Lingtian said. Yes. The alchemist nodded seriously. Let's begin. Duan Lingtian said again. The two alchemists immediately perked up and began to refine pills. This time everyone was watching them refine pills. Not only did it increase the pressure on them, but they also wanted to defeat each other to advance to the next round. As long as they advanced, they would be able to join the Lu clan and become a disciple with a different surname. Time continued to pass by quietly. Soon an hour had passed. Smack! The alchemist whose pill's purity was not as high as the other alchemist was the first to stop. He pressed his palm on the cauldron and sent the pill flying out of the cauldron. During this process, he remembered the little trick Duan Lingtian had told him earlier. Pill fire shot out from his palm and formed a barrier around the mouth of the cauldron. Whoosh! A pill flew out and passed through the pill fire on the mouth of the cauldron before he caught it in his hand. The pill was done. Smack! At this moment, the alchemist whose pill's purity was higher than the other alchemists, and who was dissatisfied with Duan Lingtian's judgment also stopped and took out his pill. Two identical pills appeared in the air. However, when the two alchemists looked at the pills in their hands and then looked at the pills in the other's open palm, their eyes widened at the same time. An inexplicable shock appeared on their faces. How's this possible? No, this is impossible. The alchemist who was dissatisfied earlier turned pale. He kept shaking his head, unwilling to believe what was happening before his eyes was real. All this was because he realized that the pill's purity had only increased by less than 5% compared to before. On the other hand, the pill in his opponent's hand had increased by almost 10%. Almost 10%. What kind of concept was that? It completely destroyed him. This is too amazing. The other alchemist's eyes lit up. Disbelief was written all over his face. He felt that everything that was happening before his eyes was unbelievable. The same little trick, after he used it, actually increased the purity of the pill by nearly 10%. On the other hand, the pill's purity had only increased by less than 5%. Impossible. You must have taught him some other trick. That must be it. The alchemist pointed at Duan Lingtian and said unwillingly, I taught him some other trick? Upon hearing this, Duan Lingtian laughed. It was a laugh without any warning. After laughing for a while, a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. Do you want to let the other alchemists give it a try? In the end, the other alchemists who had advanced to the semifinals and had not been eliminated began to refine pills using the little trick Duan Lingtian had taught them. After they successfully refined the medicinal pill, they discovered a strange thing. Among these alchemists, a portion of them refined pills whose purity had only increased by 5% compared to before, while a portion of them refined pills whose purity had increased by more than 10% compared to before. Now, do you still think that I taught him some other trick? Duan Lingtian looked at the alchemist who was dissatisfied. His voice was calm and emotionless. The alchemist's face turned green when he heard this. However, he did not say anything. He knew that he was overthinking things. Why? In the end, the alchemist was still dissatisfied. He looked at Duan Lingtian and asked. Duan Lingtian was naturally very clear about what this alchemist wanted to ask. Everyone from the Lu clan, including the clan leader of the Lu clan, and the other alchemists around them were also looking at him with a puzzled expression. It was obvious that they wanted to know the answer as well. It's because of the pill fire. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Duan Lingtian gave his answer. It had to be said that his answer was beyond everyone's expectations. The problem lies with the pill fire? That's not right. I'm a grade 5 alchemist and the pill fire that I condensed is a grade 5 pill fire. However, the pills that I refined using the little trick only increased by less than 5%. Although I'm only a grade 6 alchemist, and the pill fire that I condensed is not as good as yours, however, I managed to increase the pill's purity by 10% through the little trick. What's going on? The group of alchemists was puzzled. Some grade 6 alchemists had a greater increase in purity than some grade 5 alchemists. There were also some grade 6 alchemists who did not improve as much as grade 5 alchemists. It's not because of the grade of the pill fire, but the purity of the pill fire itself. Usually, the pill fire that an alchemist who made it in one go would be coarser and less pure. On the other hand, the pill fire that an alchemist who made it in one go would be more refined and purer. Through the little trick that I mentioned earlier, the former can increase the pill's purity by 1 level. However, the latter is slightly weaker. Duan Lingtian patiently explained to the group of people who were looking at him curiously. The scene fell into a dead silence at once. Everyone began to ponder. Elder Duan is indeed a grade 1 alchemist. He can even figure out such a little trick. Chapter 1073. Now, do you have any more questions? Duan Lingtian asked nonchalantly as he looked at the alchemist who doubted him. If he did not use the pill fire to refine the pills, the purity of the pills refined by this alchemist was indeed higher than the other alchemist. However, the results were the opposite when the pill fire was used to refine the pills. From the beginning of the alchemist competition, Duan Lingtian did not use the purity of the pills to determine the level of the alchemists. Apart from the purity of the pills, he also looked at the purity of the pill fire. The higher the purity of the pill fire, the more potential an alchemist had. He knew this from the reincarnation Emperor Wu's memory. The alchemist who was unconvinced was ashamed when he heard Duan Lingtian's question. He nodded apologetically at Duan Lingtian before he flew away in disappointment. Thank you, Elder Duan. On the other hand, the other alchemist was excited. He did not think he would be able to pass the semi-finals and advance to the finals. Moreover, he had become a disciple with a different surname from the Lu clan. In the alchemist competition, those who could pass the semi-finals and advance to the finals were bound to join the Lu clan. You don't have to thank me. It's because your refining skills are good. With your talent, as long as you continue to work hard, it won't be difficult for you to become a grade 3 alchemist in the future. Duan Lingtian said as he shook his head. Grade 3 alchemist? Can I really do that? The alchemist asked excitedly. He was only a grade 6 alchemist now. He did not even dare to think about whether he could become a grade 3 alchemist in the future. That will depend on your hard work. You may leave now and wait for the finals. Duan Lingtian said. Yes. The alchemist left respectfully when he heard this. At the same time, the surrounding gazes that were directed at Duan Lingtian were filled with reverence. This was a grade 1 alchemist. With just a few words, he had turned the tables on an alchemist who was originally in a disadvantageous position and advanced to the finals. No wonder it's written in the handbook left behind by the clan's ancestor. There's no mediocre grade 1 alchemist. It seems like it's true. One of the Lu clan's elders exclaimed. He was completely convinced by Duan Lingtian's method. Of course. People who can become grade 1 alchemists, which one of them isn't said to be a peerless talent in the Tao of alchemy? Another elder from the Lu clan said. No matter what, Duan Lingtian's actions earlier had won the admiration of the group of alchemists participating in the alchemist competition. At the same time, he had also intimidated the group of Lu clan's people led by the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. After Duan Lingtian's performance, no one dared to question him anymore. The semi-finals of the alchemist competition quickly came to an end. Only the 30 most outstanding alchemists remained. However, most of the alchemists that were eliminated didn't leave. Instead, they waited with great interest for the finals that was about to arrive. To them, this was undoubtedly a good opportunity to learn. The scene of so many outstanding alchemists refining medicine together was not common. Perhaps they could get some inspiration from one of the alchemists and improve their attainments in the Tao of medicine refinement. The finals began as scheduled. The 30 disciples of the Lu family, who were not surnamed Lu, left the stage one by one. As the main referee, Duan Lingtian was responsible for patrolling the stage. With Duan Lingtian, a grade 1 alchemist, holding the stage, the other referees, including Lu So, knew their place. They stood still and watched from afar, not daring to disturb Duan Lingtian. As time went by, the 30 alchemists began to refine the pills. Meanwhile, Duan Lingtian commented on the pills that each alchemist refined. Regardless of the length of his comments, each alchemist was convinced. During the process of commenting, Duan Lingtian's knowledge in the Tao of medicine refinement shocked everyone once again. It seems like our Lu clan has really picked up a treasure this time. I'm afraid an ordinary grade 1 alchemist is not even worthy of carrying Elder Duan's shoes in terms of theory. The clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, was a grade 2 alchemist. After witnessing Duan Lingtian's knowledge, he could not suppress his excitement. His whispers were clearly heard by the Lu clan members, causing them to be dumbstruck. Clan leader. Do you mean even our Alchemist Guild's main guild in the Southern Outer Lands Alchemist Guild is not as good as Elder Duan in terms of theory? Lu Yuan's small eyes widened, and a hint of shock could be seen on his chubby face. Guild leader Chung, I visited him a few times. Although he's also a grade 1 alchemist, his understanding of the Tao of medicine refinement is not as thorough as Elder Duan. This was the answer Lu Rui came to after comparing the two. At once, everyone in Lu clan fell into a dead silence. They naturally knew who the President Chang, that the clan had mentioned, was. He was the guild leader of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land of Cloud Continent. He was a noble grade 1 alchemist. Cloud Continent was divided into the inner land, and the outer land with the Ruoshui River as the boundary. The northern mountain land where the Lu clan was located in the outer land to the south of Cloud Continent. This area was also known as the southern outer land. Speaking of which, whether it was the Dark Han dynasty where Duan Lingtian was from or the northern desert land, they were both part of the southern outer land. In the past, I only knew that guild leader Chung was the only grade 1 alchemist in the southern outer land. However, it seems like that's not the case. That's right. As it turns out, there's a monstrous grade 1 alchemist like Elder Duan in the southern outer land. In terms of age, Elder Duan is much younger than guild leader Chung. He's young, but his medicine refinement skills are not weak. Moreover, even the clan leader who has spoken with guild leader Chung thinks that guild leader Chung is not as good as Elder Duan. The group of Lu clan's elders whispered among themselves. Soon after, their eyes landed on the purple figure in the distance in unison. That young man had become even more unfathomable in their eyes. Duan Lingtian. Lu Bai had a wide smile on his face. Ever since Duan Lingtian revealed his identity as a grade 1 alchemist, apart from being surprised, there was only a smile on his face. It did not cross his mind at all. Not long ago, he was worried that Duan Lingtian would be executed by the Lu clan. However, in just a blink of an eye, he had become the most popular person in the Lu clan. Clan leader, you have such a high opinion of Elder Duan. Are you confident that you can become a grade 1 alchemist with his guidance? Lu Ji, the Lu clan's guardian elder, asked solemnly as he looked at Lu Rui. Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan, had shown outstanding talent in medicine refinement since he was young. The Lu clan's patriarch thought that he had the highest chance of becoming a grade 1 alchemist in the past 100 years. There's a chance. Lu Rui's eyes flickered. A look of anticipation appeared on his face as his eyes sparkled. Gasp! 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 The moment Lu Rui's words left his mouth, the sound of people inhaling sharply was heard. The group of Lu clan's high-ranking officials, including the 3 Lu clan's guardian elders, inhaled sharply. Lu Rui's reply completely shocked them. Their eyes shone brightly when they looked at Duan Lingtian again. It was as though he was not a person but a peerless piece of art. It was easy for people to be mesmerized by him. However, Duan Lingtian was currently commenting on the alchemists who were participating in the alchemist competition's finals. He did not notice their gazes. Soon after, he listed the 30 alchemists' rankings. None of the 30 alchemists had any objections to the rankings. Elder Luso, I'll leave the rest to you. After he was done, Duan Lingtian returned to Xiong Quan's side and told Lu South. Lu So immediately responded and did not dare to delay. He looked at the 30 alchemists and was ready to announce the rewards that the Lu clan had decided on previously. However, before Lu So could speak, someone could not help but ask, I wonder if the top 3 in the alchemist competition will be able to receive Elder Duan's guidance? According to the rewards that the Lu clan had decided on previously, the top 3 in the alchemist competition would be able to receive guidance from the Lu clan's grade 2 alchemists. Today, the Lu clan had a new interim advisor. Moreover, he was a grade 1 alchemist who was knowledgeable in medicine refinement. This made the top 3 alchemists in the alchemist competition feel tempted. The person who asked the question was the person who ranked second in the alchemist competition. It's not a good thing to be too greedy. Lu So took a deep look at the alchemist. However, he did not give a decisive answer. Instead, he turned to look at the clan leader Lu Rui. Elder Duan must be tired from the journey. Lu Bai, bring Elder Duan and that brother to rest. Lu Rui did not seem to notice Lu So's gaze as he looked at Lu Bai. Yes. Lu Bai replied respectfully before he looked at Duan Lingtian and Xiong Quan. Xiong Quan, let's go. Duan Lingtian called out to Xiong Quan before he brought the ice coffin with him and left with Lu Bai. Before he left, he glanced at the Lu clan's senior officials and nodded at them as a form of greeting. The Lu clan's senior officials, including the clan leader and the 3 guardian elders, responded with a smile. In their eyes, Duan Lingtian was a treasure. Elder Duan was a treasure that could help the Lu clan produce another grade 1 alchemist. Duan Lingtian's departure disappointed the top 3 alchemists in the alchemist competition. Work hard after joining the Lu clan and strive to stand out in the Lu clan. At that time, you might be able to receive guidance from Elder Duan. At this moment, Lu Rui looked at the 30 Lu clan's foreign disciples and said nonchalantly. Lu Rui's words caused the 30 people's eyes to brighten immediately. Their faces were filled with anticipation. However, the Lu clan's senior officials were well aware of this. With Elder Duan's ability to guide their clan leader in medicine refinement, even the other grade 2 alchemists in the Lu clan would fight for Elder Duan's guidance. Apart from the few grade 2 alchemists, the Lu clan also had a group of grade 3 alchemists. Chapter 1074. Lu Bai's eyes inadvertently swept past the ice coffin next to Duan Lingtian when he was about to enter the Lu clan's estate. It was his first time seeing the face of the woman lying in the ice coffin. The red-clad woman left a deep impression on him. She was the woman who was with Duan Lingtian and his benefactor when he was almost killed. At that time, he was shocked by the woman's peerless appearance. This was because even in the northern mountain land, he had never seen a woman with such an outstanding appearance. She's the daughter of the person who saved you. Duan Lingtian looked at Feng Tianwu who was in the ice coffin. His eyes were filled with tenderness. Benefactor's daughter? Lu Bai's expression changed slightly. She's? At this moment, Lu Bai began to carefully study Feng Tianwu who was lying in the ice coffin. Soon, He noticed the vitality in Feng Tianwu's body. She's in a deep sleep? Her soul is injured, so she's in a coma. Duan Lingtian sighed. Lu Bai nodded solemnly. He did not fully understand. Young master. At this moment, Xiong Quan, who was standing next to Duan Lingtian, said respectfully to Duan Lingtian, I heard you say that as long as we can find some rare heaven and earth treasure, we can wake Miss Tianwu up again. The Lu clan has a history of 10,000 years. Perhaps they have a heaven and earth treasure that can wake Miss Tianwu up. Xiong Quan stared at Lu Bai with a burning gaze after he finished speaking. Xiong Quan's words made Duan Lingtian's body tremble slightly. That was right. Why did he not think of that? The Lu clan was a clan that had a history of 10,000 years. On Cloud Continent, apart from the two ancient clans that stood at the peak of Cloud Continent, there were only a handful of forces that had a history of 10,000 years. Of course, Duan Lingtian knew in his heart that the reason he did not think of this was because he had a preconceived notion. Through the memories of the reincarnation Emperor Wu, he knew that the treasures of heaven and earth were extremely rare. Even in the entire Cloud Continent they were extremely rare. Even the great treasure left behind by the reincarnation Emperor Wu did not have them. It was precisely because of this that he subconsciously felt that it was impossible for the heavenly and earthly treasures that he might not even encounter in the inner land to appear in the outer land. Lu Bai, does your Lu family have the soul-fixing root and the soul-stabilizing grass? Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Bai and asked urgently. Although he wasn't sure if the Lu family had these two treasures that could help Feng Tianwu recover her soul, he still decided to ask. He didn't want to miss any opportunity. No matter what, the Lu clan had a heritage of over 10,000 years. Perhaps they had these two kinds of heavenly treasures. Soul-stabilizing root? Soul-stabilizing grass? However, Lu Bai shook his head when he heard Duan Lingtian's question. This is my first time hearing about these two things. How about this? I'll arrange a place for you to stay first. After you've rested, I'll go with you to look for the clan leader. Who knows, he might know something about it. Lu Bai suggested. All right. Duan Lingtian nodded. There was a hint of hope in his eyes. If the Lu clan really had the soul-fixing root and the soul-stabilizing grass, he could concoct the medicinal liquid and help Tianwu recover her soul in one fell swoop. Now I can only hope that my luck is really that good. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Whether it was the soul-fixing root or the soul-stabilizing grass, they were extremely rare treasures of heaven and earth on the Cloud Continent. Even the reincarnation Emperor Wu had only seen them a few times. Soon after, Duan Lingtian and Xiong Quan arrived at the buildings on the east side of the Lu clan's mansion under Lu Bai's lead. They arrived at an independent mansion within a mansion. Second young master. Outside the spacious mansion, a beautiful maid stood there and bowed respectfully to Lu Bai. All right. Lu Bai nodded at the maid and said solemnly, from today onward, Elder Duan will be staying here. I'll arrange for a few more people to come over later. All of you must serve Elder Duan well. If you displease Elder Duan and the clan leader blames you, even I won't be able to bear the consequences. Do you understand? One had to admit that Lu Bai's words shocked the maid standing at the mansion's entrance. Elder Duan? The maid's gaze swept past Duan Lingtian and Xiong Quan before it finally landed on Xiong Quan. In her opinion, this older person was more like an elder. Then I won't disturb your rest. Lu Bai nodded and smiled at Duan Lingtian and Xiong Quan before he said, when both of you have rested, ask her to look for me at my mansion. All right. Duan Lingtian and Xiong Quan nodded. After Lu Bai left, the maid heaved a sigh of relief as though a heavy burden had been lifted from her shoulders. Then she looked at Xiong Quan with a smile on her face. Nice to meet you, Elder Duan. My name is Xiao Yun. I'll be in charge of your daily life from now on. Xiong Quan was embarrassed and said awkwardly, girl, you're mistaken. My young master is Elder Duan. As Xiong Quan spoke, he glanced at Duan Lingtian. Ah! Maid Xiao Yun was shocked. Only then did she reassess Duan Lingtian. Her beautiful face was filled with disbelief as she muttered. You're really Elder Duan? Why, don't we look alike? Duan Lingtian was amused by maid Xiao Yun and asked jokingly. No, Elder Duan, I just find it unbelievable. Our Lu clan has never had an elder as young as you. Maid Xiao Yun hurriedly replied. When she reached the end of her sentence, her beautiful eyes were filled with curiosity as she studied Duan Lingtian. It was as though she wanted to see what was so special about Duan Lingtian, and how he could become an elder of their Lu clan at such a young age. Moreover, he was an elder with a different surname. Although she was only a servant girl, she still knew some things about the Lu family very well. It was impossible for a disciple with a different surname from the Lu clan to become an elder with a different surname unless he was very capable. Elder Duan, please come in. Soon after, Maid Xiaoyun returned to her senses and led Duan Lingtian into the mansion behind her. She arranged a spacious room for Duan Lingtian to stay in. The room was huge and it was fully furnished. It was the master bedroom of the mansion. Boom! Duan Lingtian raised his hand, and the ice coffin flew into the room and landed steadily on a table in the room. How beautiful! Maid Xiaoyun had long noticed the ice coffin following Duan Lingtian. It was only until now that she had the chance to study the ice coffin seriously. Soon after, she noticed the red-clad lady lying in the ice coffin. The red-robed woman lay there, her devastatingly beautiful face reflected in her eyes. She couldn't help but feel ashamed of her own inferiority. If there's nothing else, all of you can leave first. I want to rest. Duan Lingtian said. Yes, young master, Xiong Quan replied respectfully. At the same time he looked at Maid Xiaoyun. Girl, we should leave now. Maid Xiaoyun snapped back to her senses and reluctantly shifted her gaze away from the red-clad lady in the ice coffin. She followed Xiong Quan out of the room. Xiong Quan helped Duan Lingtian close the door. Uncle, how should I address you? Maid Xiaoyun looked at Xiong Quan. Xiong Quan. Xiong Quan replied coolly. Uncle Xiong Quan, do you know who the lady lying in the ice coffin next to Elder Duan is? It's my first time seeing such a beautiful lady in my entire life. Maid Xiaoyun asked with curiosity in her eyes. She's young master's woman. Xiong Quan sighed. When he saw that Maid Xiaoyun was about to ask more questions, he quickly said, all right girl, don't ask anymore. Help me arrange a room as well. In the master bedroom, after Xiong Quan and Maid Xiaoyun left, Duan Lingtian walked up to the ice coffin and gently caressed the ice coffin. He looked at Feng Tianwu who was lying in the ice coffin with a gentle expression on his face. Tianwu, rest well. Big brother Duan will wake you up very soon. He won't make you wait too long. You won't wait for too long, Duan Lingtian said softly. His voice was as gentle as it could be. After a while, Duan Lingtian changed into a new set of clothes and lay on the bed to rest. Before he knew it, he had fallen asleep. It had been a long time since he had such a good sleep. On the other hand, Xiong Quan had also settled down under Maid Xiaoyun's arrangement. After settling down Xiong Quan, Maid Xiaoyun's face was filled with confusion. Where did that elder Duan come from? Judging by his age, he's not much older than me. That's not right. Soon after, Maid Xiaoyun seemed to have thought of something. Her expression changed slightly. In our Lu clan, those who can become an elder with a different surname are either people with shocking abilities or extremely outstanding alchemists. If Elder Duan is a human, it's impossible for him to be so powerful at his age. It's even more impossible for him to be an alchemist who's qualified to become an elder with a different surname in our Lu clan. In other words, he's a demon. A powerful demon. Cold sweat broke out on her forehead when she thought of this. She had never come into contact with a demon in her life. I heard that demons have weird tempers. Some demons might even transform into their original forms to eat humans. Maid Xiaoyun's body trembled when she thought of this. Sister Xiaoyun. Suddenly, a voice that sounded like an oriole's came from outside the mansion. It made Maid Xiaoyun regain her senses. After wiping the cold sweat off her face, she walked out of the mansion. As soon as she walked out of the mansion, she saw 6 maids walking toward her side by side. All of you. Did second young master arrange for all of you to be here? As Lu clan's maids, they knew each other. When Xiaoyun saw the 5 maids, her eyes widened in shock. As far as she knew in the Lu clan, there were at most 2 to 3 maids in the mansion of an ordinary elder. Even in the residence of the patriarch, there were only 5 maids. Now there were 6 maids on her side. Including her, there were 7 of them. 7 maids serving an elder with a different surname? That elder Duan. Who is he? At this moment, Maid Xiao Yun vaguely felt that something was amiss. Even if Elder Duan was a demon monarch powerhouse, he shouldn't be treated so well, right? Big sister Xiao Yun, you'll be our big sister from now on. You're really lucky to have encountered such a good job. The 6 maids looked at Maid Xiao Yun enviously. Chapter 1075. A cushy job? Servant Xiao Yun frowned and asked, do all of you know something? Or perhaps, have you heard of that young Elder Duan? It can't be. Sister Xiao Yun, you haven't heard of Elder Duan? The 6 servants looked at Xiao Yun as though they were looking at a monster. Is that strange? Seeing their reactions, Xiao Yun couldn't help but be stunned. Sister Xiao Yun, I'm afraid the entire Lu clan has already spread the news about Elder Duan. As the first person to serve Elder Duan, how could you not know about it? The 6 servants shook their heads and sighed. They thought Xiao Yun's news was outdated. Stop keeping me in suspense, you 6. Xiao Yun smiled wryly. Following that, the 6 maids no longer wasted any time and began to tell her everything they knew about Elder Duan, who had become an elder of the Lu clan as soon as he arrived at the Lu clan. Elder Duan killed Elder Lu Zhao as soon as he arrived at the Lu clan? He even killed the 3rd young master. When Xiao Yun heard about what the young Elder Duan had done and how the 2 guardian elders of the Lu clan had shown up to kill him, she could not help but break out in cold sweat for him. However, she knew Elder Duan would be fine in the end. Otherwise, she would not have the chance to serve Elder Duan. Grade 1 alchemist? Xiao Yun's eyes narrowed when she heard the young Elder Duan had revealed his Grade 1 pill fire, and his identity as a Grade 1 alchemist. An alchemist, a Grade 1 alchemist. Does this mean Elder Duan is not a demon? However, he's just a human. Apart from having the ability to kill Elder Lu Zhao, who was at the 8th level void transformation stage, he's also a noble Grade 1 alchemist. How's this possible? Xiao Yun muttered to herself. Although her voice was not loud, it still entered the ears of the other 6 servants. Sister Xiao Yun, we wouldn't believe such a human exists if it was in the past. However, the truth is right before our eyes. We have no choice but to believe it. That's right, Sister Xiao Yun. Right now, the entire Lu clan is talking about Elder Duan. They're saying Elder Duan is a rare monster on Cloud Continent. Some people even say Elder Duan is a gift from God to the Lu clan. After almost 1,000 years, a Grade 1 alchemist has appeared in the Lu clan again. If this news spreads, the entire northern mountain land and half of the southern outer land will be shocked. The 6 maids spoke one after another. Their tone was mixed with a bit of excitement. Although they were only servants, they were still considered half of the Lu clan, half of the Lu clan. I can't believe Elder Duan. Recalling the purple-clothed young man who didn't put on any airs and how casual she was in front of him, the maidservant Xiao Yun felt a chill down her spine. It turned out that the purple-clothed youth was actually such an extraordinary existence. Not only was he, but he was also a Grade 1 alchemist as. Sister Xiao Yun, how is that Elder Duan? Is he easy to get along? Very soon, the 6 new maidservants asked Xiao Yun all at once. Elder Duan is very nice and easygoing. Duan Lingtian gradually woke up after sleeping for an unknown amount of time. He got out of bed after glancing at the ice coffin on the table nearby. After washing up and changing into a clean set of clothes, he walked out of his room. Elder Duan. Elder Duan. As soon as Duan Lingtian opened the door and walked out, 2 voices that sounded like orioles resonated in his ears. Only then did he realize there were 2 servants standing on both sides of his door. Morning. Duan Lingtian nodded in response. However, he could not help but smile wryly in his heart. That fellow, Lu Bai, actually found a few more servants. At the same time, Duan Lingtian noticed there were a few servants busy in the mansion he was staying in. Elder Duan, I'll get someone to clean up your room for you. Soon after, Duan Lingtian saw servant Xiao Yun walking towards him. After she greeted him, she brought the 2 servant girls with her and entered his room to clean up. Naturally, it was mainly to clean up the dust. After a while, the entire room was spotless when the 3 servants came out. Elder Duan, do you have any other orders? Servant Xiao Yun looked at Duan Lingtian respectfully after bringing the servants out. She waited for further instructions from Duan Lingtian. This moment Duan Lingtian also noticed. Servant Xiao Yun's attitude towards him had undergone a drastic change compared to when he first arrived. She was no longer as casual as before. Instead, her every movement was reserved. Xiao Yun, you don't have to be so reserved in front of me. Just be as casual as you want, Duan Lingtian said. I dare not. Servant Xiao Yun lowered her head as she replied. What a joke. Previously, she did not know about Elder Duan's background. However, now that she knew, she would not dare to be as casual as before even if she was given 100 guts. Upon seeing this, Duan Lingtian felt helpless. However, he did not insist. Instead, he said calmly, bring second young master here. Yes. Servant Xiao Yun responded and left. As for the other two servants, they returned to Duan Lingtian's room and stood there like statues. Duan Lingtian shook his head and walked out to look for Xiong Quan. As for the ice coffin in the room, he did not bring it out. In his opinion, this was the Northern Mountain's Lu family, one of the two most powerful forces in the Northern Mountain. Nobody would come here to look for trouble. Therefore, it was safe to leave it in the room temporarily. Moreover, he would not leave the Lu family anytime soon. Under the guidance of the servants, Duan Lingtian soon saw Xiong Quan in the backyard of the mansion. When he saw Xiong Quan, he was practicing his swordsmanship with all his might. He was sweating profusely. Xiong Quan. Duan Lingtian sighed in his heart when he saw how hard-working Xiong Quan was. Naturally, he knew why Xiong Quan was so hard-working. He wanted to become stronger so that he could stay by his side to help him and not be a burden. Young master. Soon after, Xiong Quan stopped practicing and stood up. He noticed Duan Lingtian. Xiong Quan, how much of the information contained in the word sword have you comprehended? Duan Lingtian asked with a smile. The word sword that Duan Lingtian mentioned was, naturally, a carving left behind by a guy who called himself the Sword Saint in the depths of the mountain where Xiong Quan's hometown was located in the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom. The word sword contained a shocking amount of sword Dao comprehension. According to Duan Lingtian's estimation, even if he only comprehended 1% of the sword Dao comprehension contained in the word sword, he would be able to do whatever he wanted on the Cloud Continent. He had discovered this not too long ago. Not too long ago, he had a further comprehension of the word sword stored in his mind and raised his sword concept to the 8th level advanced sword concept in one fell swoop. Although he did not have any improvements in other aspects, he had an additional strength of 300 ancient horn dragons due to the elevation of his sword concept. With the help of the quasi-royal grade spirit sword, he could wield the strength of 3,800 ancient horn dragons with his full strength. This was under the condition that he did not rely on the earth energy with his earth concept. It was precisely because of this that he was able to kill Lu Zhao, the Lu clan's elder who was at the 8th level void transformation stage. It was effortless from the beginning until the end. Young master, I'm slow-witted. I haven't made any progress. Xiong Quan shrugged and smiled wryly. Don't worry. A lot of things still depend on luck. Who knows, maybe you'll have a flash of inspiration in your mind, and you'll be able to comprehend them naturally. Duan Lingtian comforted him. However, looking at Xiong Quan's dejected expression, it was obvious his consolation was useless. Duan Lingtian. Right at this moment, a loud and familiar voice sounded, breaking the slightly silent atmosphere. Lu Bai. The person who came was the Lu clan's second young master, Lu Bai. Duan Lingtian did not beat around the bush and went straight to the point. Lu Bai, I want to see the clan leader. I've already told the patriarch about the soul-fixing root and the soul-stabilizing grass that you told me a few days ago. You should be able to know the result when you meet the patriarch with me this time. Lu Bai knew the reason why Duan Lingtian wanted to see the clan leader of Lu clan, so he said bluntly, the two treasures you mentioned sound like medicinal herbs. Our Lu clan has countless rare medicinal herbs. Who knows, we might have what you're looking for. I hope so. Duan Lingtian nodded and then looked at Xiong Quan. Xiong Quan, do you want to come with me? Young master, I'll pass. I want to cultivate for a while more. Besides, I can help take care of Miss Tian Wu if I stay. Xiong Quan said. All right. Duan Lingtian nodded and followed Lu Bai to see Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan, on his own. The mansion where Lu Rui lived was not far away from Duan Lingtian's mansion. Even Lu Bai's mansion was not far away. The area to the east of our Lu clan's mansion is where the clan's high-ranking officials and direct descendants live. The most magnificent mansion in front is where the clan leader lives. Lu Bai explained as he pointed to the front. Upon hearing this, Duan Lingtian looked over. In the distance, an estate stood there. It was grand and tall, and it stood out amongst the surrounding estates, causing it to be especially conspicuous. After walking for a while, Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow. He could clearly feel a gaze locked on him from afar. When he looked over, he saw a middle-aged young man walking toward him and Lu Bai. There was an old man following behind the young man. Humph! At this moment, Duan Lingtian heard Lu Bai snort. It was obvious he was targeting the newcomer. Lu Bai, aren't you going to greet your big brother when you see him? At this moment, the gray-clad young man arrived in front of Duan Lingtian and Lu Bai. His gaze had already shifted from Duan Lingtian to Lu Bai. Do I know you that well? Lu Bai glanced at the gray-clad young man coldly and said disdainfully, Lu Bai, is there a misunderstanding between us? The gray-clad young man still had a smile on his face even though Lu Bai did not treat him nicely. Chapter 1076. All of a sudden, Duan Lingtian seemed to have recalled something, and he raised an eyebrow. Big brother? This gray-clad young man addressed himself as big brother in front of Lu Bai? Lu Song. Soon after, Duan Lingtian reacted and guessed the gray-clad young man's identity. In the Lu clan, the only person who could address himself as big brother, in front of Lu Bai was the Lu clan's first young master, Lu Song. He was also Lu Bai's sworn enemy, and the stumbling block for Lu Bai to become the next clan leader of Lu clan. That was not all. The Lu clan's third young master, Lu Huai, whom I killed earlier. I heard that he was Lu Song's twin brother. Twin brother. He was Lu Huai's biological brother. At this moment, Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Song with a hint of vigilance. You must be Elder Duan, right? Lu Song was not angry when he saw Lu Bai ignoring him. He quickly changed his target and looked at Duan Lingtian with a bright smile on his face. However, the bright smile on Lu Song's face was extremely dazzling in Duan Lingtian's eyes. This Lu Song. He doesn't have a good relationship with his twin brother Lu Bai? Duan Lingtian ignored Lu Song and asked Lu Bai through voice transmission. Their parents died when they were young, so they supported each other. Naturally, they had a good relationship. To Lu Huai, apart from being an elder brother, Lu Song also played the role of a father. Lu Bai replied through voice transmission. Duan Lingtian instantly felt a chill in his heart. He did not believe that Lu Song did not know he killed Lu Huai. Even so, Lu Song was still smiling in front of him. This made him feel a chill down his spine. This Lu Song is an extremely dangerous person. Duan Lingtian was almost certain about this. It was not something an ordinary person could do to act as if nothing had happened in front of the person who killed his brother. Anyone who could do that would be a scheming person. If Lu Song had wanted to kill him, perhaps he would not have taken him seriously. However, Lu Song's behavior made him fearful from the bottom of his heart. An enemy in the open was not scary. An enemy in the dark was the most terrifying. And who are you? Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Song and asked despite knowing the answer. I'm Lu Song. The smile on Lu Song's face remained unchanged as he politely responded to Duan Lingtian. Lu Song? The young master of the Lu family? Duan Lingtian pretended to be surprised. Yes. Lu Song nodded and continued to say, however, even though I'm the great young master of Lu clan, I'm nothing in front of you, Elder Duan. Elder Duan, you're a grade 1 alchemist. Even the clan leader and the 3 guardian elders have to be respectful to you. As he spoke, Lu Song's face was filled with humility. Duan Lingtian did not pay much attention to Lu Song's flattery. He looked deeply at Lu Song and asked with a smile, I heard. Lu Huai, the Lu clan's 3rd young master, is your biological brother? As soon as he finished speaking, Duan Lingtian narrowed his eyes and locked onto Lu Song. His sharp gaze seemed to be able to see through everything. At the same time, his mental power also extended out. Yes. Lu Song nodded. The smile on his face grew wider. He was not angry because Duan Lingtian mentioned Lu Huai. Do you know that I killed him? Duan Lingtian asked again. When Duan Lingtian asked this question, he was shocked in his heart. This was because he realized that when he mentioned Lu Huai, no matter if it was his eyes or his mental power, he did not notice any fluctuation in Lu Song's emotions. Even if it was just a tiny bit. What did this mean? Either Lu Song did not care about the life and death of his biological brother, Lu Huai. Either that or Lu Song had perfectly hidden his emotions. If it was the former, then so be it. However, if it was the latter, then Lu Song was just too terrifying. Through the voice transmission that he asked Lu Song earlier, he could conclude that it was impossible for it to be the former. In that case, it could only be the latter. This caused a chill to rise in his heart. Currently, in his eyes, Lu Song was like a poisonous snake that could easily blend into its surroundings and hide perfectly. Such a poisonous snake was undoubtedly extremely dangerous and impossible to guard against. Once it went berserk, it would definitely kill without leaving a trace. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian felt the mental power that he extended out tremble. Only then did he notice. Just as his words left his mouth, there was an obvious fluctuation in Lu Song's emotions. The fluctuation in Lu Song's emotions was extremely faint and disappeared in a flash. However, his sharp mental power could still clearly sense it. The fluctuation in his emotions contained a bloodthirsty killing intent. I know. However, I still have to thank Elder Duan for cleaning up the house for my clan. With Lu Huai's temper, he'll get into trouble sooner or later. It's his good fortune that he died in your hands. Lu Song nodded. There was still a smile on his face. However, when his smile entered Duan Lingtian's eyes, it made Duan Lingtian's hair stand on end. It was also his mental power that noticed the fluctuation in Lu Song's emotions. Otherwise, he might have been deceived by Lu Song just by looking at it with his naked eyes. Then I guess I've unintentionally planted a willow, and the willow turns into a shade. However, you don't have to thank me. It's just a small matter. Duan Lingtian glanced at Lu Song nonchalantly and said calmly, "Boy, you're courting death." At this moment, a cold gleam flashed in the eyes of the old man behind Lu Song. His aura instantly locked onto Duan Lingtian. Subsequently, he took a step forward, intending to attack Duan Lingtian. Whoosh! However, before the old man could make a move, he was stopped by Lu Song. "Elder Duan, I'm really sorry. Elder Guan and Lu Huai are very close. I hope Elder Duan can forgive him if he offended you in any way." Lu Song said apologetically to Duan Lingtian. When Duan Lingtian heard this, he did not look at Lu Song. Instead, his eyes were fixed on the old man behind Lu Song. The old man had white hair and eyebrows, and he was glaring at him with hatred. At that moment, Duan Lingtian seemed to have noticed something. A thoughtful expression appeared on his face. How interesting. Duan Lingtian looked at the old man deeply before he shifted his gaze away. He did not bother with Lu Song anymore. After calling out to Lu Bai, he left with Lu Bai. Only Lu Song and the old man behind him were left standing on the spot. They looked at Duan Lingtian and Lu Bai's silhouettes as they left. "Young master, you shouldn't have stopped me. I was very confident that I could kill him just now to avenge little young master," the old man said in a deep voice as he stared at the purple silhouette in the distance. His face was filled with hatred. Then, at this moment, the smile on Lu Song's face had disappeared. It was replaced with indifference. Then, when the old man heard this, he did not know how to reply. "You won't be able to live if you kill him. Even if you manage to escape, you're destined to be a fugitive. At that time, where are you going to put me? Or do you want me to be a fugitive with you?" Lu Song enunciated each word clearly, leaving the old man speechless. That was right. He had killed Duan Lingtian. Faced with the enraged higher-ups of the Lu clan, he could escape to the ends of the earth. However, the young master would be dragged down by him. After all, his every move represented his young master Lu Song. If you kill him, you can either die or run. As for me, even if I continue to stay in the Lu clan, I won't be able to become the patriarch of the Lu clan. The Lu clan will not allow someone who doesn't care about the clan's interests to be the patriarch. You should be very clear about this, Lu Song said in a deep voice. If he allowed the old man to kill Duan Lingtian, even if the Lu clan did not punish him, the higher-ups of the Lu clan would undoubtedly think that he did not care about the clan's interests at all. Duan Lingtian was a grade 1 alchemist and the Lu clan's first honorary elder. If he was killed, the Lu clan's interests would be greatly affected. Young master, what about little young master's revenge? Are we not going to avenge it? The old man said with grief and indignation. Not avenge it. How is that possible? He's my younger brother. He's my younger brother whom I watched grow up. Lu Song's eyes gleamed coldly. However, he concealed it in just a blink of an eye. His slightly ferocious expression returned to its usual calmness. However, we can't be rash about this. We need to think about it carefully. The old man's eyes brightened when he heard this, and he replied respectfully. On the other hand, Duan Lingtian and Lu Bai had also arrived near the mansion of the Lu clan's patriarch, Lu Rui. They would arrive at the mansion in a dozen breaths' time. Duan Lingtian, you have to be careful of Lu Song. That Lu Song is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He says one thing in the open and another in the dark. You killed his younger brother. There's no way he would be so magnanimous. He won't let this go so easily. Lu Bai looked at Duan Lingtian and reminded him solemnly. Duan Lingtian nodded. He had already noticed this without Lu Bai's reminder. Lu Bai, the old man behind Lu Song. Do you know anything about him? Soon after, Duan Lingtian recalled the old man who was following behind Lu Song and wanted to attack him. I only know that the old man's surname is Guan, and people call him Elder Guan. As for his background, I heard he was a servant of Lu Song's grandfather when he was young. Due to his good innate talent, he became a collateral disciple of our Lu clan. Later on, after Lu Song's grandfather died, he followed Lu Song's father. After Lu Song's parents died, he followed Lu Song and Lu Huai and took care of them. It's said that the old man's strength has already entered the 9th level void transformation. He's not far from the peak of the void. His strength is much stronger than many of the elders in our Lu clan. Lu Bai told him everything he knew. 9th level void transformation? Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow when he heard Lu Bai's words. He was shocked. That old man hit his strength really well. He's obviously a martial monarch powerhouse, but he actually told the public that he's only at the 9th level void transformation. Earlier, when the old man's aura had locked onto him and was about to attack him, he immediately extended his spiritual energy. He attempted to probe the old man's cultivation base by extending his spiritual energy. However, when his spiritual energy approached the old man, it seemed to have melted into a ball of cotton and disappeared without a trace. At that time he knew. Chapter 1077. However, the old man was only at the 1st level martial monarch stage at most. Duan Lingtian could roughly deduce this through the memories of the reincarnation Emperor Wu from his 2 lives. What's wrong? Is there something wrong? Lu Bai asked curiously when he saw Duan Lingtian suddenly stopping in his tracks. He seemed to be in a daze. Nothing. Duan Lingtian returned to his senses when he heard this and shook his head. He decided not to tell Lu Bai about his discovery. If Lu Bai knew there was a martial monarch following Lu Song all the time, he would definitely be in a bad mood. After all, if he wanted to become the next clan leader of Lu clan, he would have to get rid of Lu Song, this stepping stone. If he knew there was a martial monarch protecting Lu Song, he might feel hopeless. Although Lu Bai was puzzled when he saw Duan Lingtian seem to have a lot on his mind, he did not continue to ask. He could tell Duan Lingtian did not want to say much. Therefore, he did not intend to force Duan Lingtian to say anything. Soon after, Duan Lingtian entered the grand and tall mansion under Lu Bai's lead, and entered the main hall in the middle of the mansion. There was already someone waiting in the main hall. It was the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. Clan leader. Duan Lingtian greeted Lu Rui with a smile when he saw him. He did not bow like Lu Bai did. If it was someone else, Lu Rui would definitely be displeased. However, this person was Duan Lingtian. Not only did he feel it was nothing, but he even responded with a smile. Elder Duan. Elder Duan, I've read some ancient books about the 2 medicinal herbs that you're looking for, and I finally found some records about them. I've been searching in the Lu clan's treasure vault for the past 2 days, and I finally found a few medicinal herbs with similar characteristics. I'm just not sure if they're the ones you're looking for. Lu Ruwei went straight to the point. A few? Hearing Lu Ruwei's words, Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up. He asked eagerly, Master, can you take out those medicinal herbs for me to identify? Duan Lingtian's words were mixed with a bit of excitement. In his opinion, since there were several kinds of medicinal herbs for him to choose from, perhaps there would be something he wanted among them. Of course, Lu Ruwei raised his hand and took out 7 kinds of herbs. 3 of them were root-shaped medicinal herbs. They looked similar to ginseng, but there were many differences. As for the other 4 herbs, they were all leaf-shaped herbs. Elder Duan, look. None of them are? Just as Lu Ruwei was about to pass the 7 kinds of medicinal herbs to Duan Lingtian, he raised his head and looked at Duan Lingtian. However, he saw Duan Lingtian's disappointed face as he let out a sigh. For a moment he vaguely realized something. Yes, Duan Lingtian nodded and said with a wry smile on his face, the soul-fixing root and soul-stabilizing grass that I want are not among these medicinal herbs. However, no matter what, thank you for helping me, Master. Duan Lingtian had a grateful expression on his face when he reached the end of his sentence. You're too kind, Elder Duan, Lu Ruwei said. My understanding of the soul-fixing root and soul-stabilizing grass is limited to the rough-written records in the ancient books. Even if I saw them, I might not be able to recognize them. In our Lu clan's treasure vault, there are some medicinal herbs that fit the description of these 2 heaven and earth treasures. However, I didn't take them out together. Why don't you come with me and take a look yourself, Elder Duan? Lu Ruwei suggested as he reached the end of his sentence. Then I'll thank the patriarch first. Duan Lingtian had undoubtedly agreed to go with Lu Ruwei to the Lu clan's treasure vault to take a look at the medicinal herbs and see if there was anything that he wanted. Subsequently, Duan Lingtian followed Lu Ruwei and left the mansion. As for Lu Bai, he returned to his own mansion and did not follow them. The Lu clan's treasure vault was located in the north of the Lu clan's mansion. It was surrounded by 3 layers of protection. It was filled with inscription formations, and some of them were even powerful killing formations. The Lu clan's treasure vault was a palace surrounded by many inscription formations. There was only one entrance, and it was personally guarded by an old man. Elder Duan, Master. The old man was slightly surprised when he saw Duan Lingtian and Lu Ruwei appearing together. However, he still greeted them warmly. Elder Ji. Duan Lingtian responded with a smile on his face. He was familiar with the old man in front of him. It was Lu Ji, one of the Lu clan's 3 guardian elders whom he had met a few days ago. He was a powerful martial monarch powerhouse. Elder Ji, I'll bring Elder Duan in to look for some medicinal herbs, Lu Ruwei said to Elder Ji. Lu Ji nodded. With a lift of his hand, a gentle energy extended out and activated an inscription formation at the entrance of the Lu clan's treasure vault. Creak. At the same time, the treasure vault's door opened by itself. Duan Lingtian and Lu Ruwei walked into the treasure vault together. What entered their eyes was a 7-colored brilliance. It was a pile of jewelry that was as big as a mountain in front of them. Under the illumination of the light brought in by Duan Lingtian and Lu Ruwei, they emitted a gorgeous light. Some of the huge pearls that were still shining brightly after the light disappeared illuminated the entire treasure vault. It was even more eye-catching. Night-luminescent pearls. Duan Lingtian raised his brow. Elder Duan, if you're interested in these things, feel free to take them. As though Lu Ruwei saw Duan Lingtian's eyes were attracted by the pile of jewelry, he said straightforwardly. To a clan like the Northern Mountains Lu clan, the jewelry that was piled up like mountains were just ordinary decorations. They had no value at all. I'm just looking. Duan Lingtian shook his head, indicating that he was not interested in those things. Master, where are the herbs? After looking around, Duan Lingtian did not see any herbs at all. At that moment, he could not help but look at Lu Ruwei in confusion and asked curiously. The herbs are in there. Lu Ruwei led the way in front as he spoke. Apart from being one of the 2 most powerful clans in the northern mountain land, the Lu clan was also an alchemist clan. To an alchemist, apart from the cauldron, the most precious thing was none other than the herbs required to refine pills. Therefore, the herbs were the most precious treasure to the Lu clan, especially those rare and precious medicinal herbs. Along the way, Duan Lingtian had passed by a few other places, from the place where the jewelry was stored to the place where the herbs were stored. Those few places stored some ancient books, concept fragments, spirit weapons, and other treasures. It's here. As Lu Rui activated the mechanism, a stone door rose up in front of them. In the next second, Duan Lingtian smelled a rich medicinal fragrance coming from inside. It quickly entered his nostrils. At that moment, he felt light all over as though he had consumed some kind of spirit pill. He only returned to his senses after a while. Elder Duan, please. Lu Rui gestured for Duan Lingtian to enter the spacious side hall behind the stone door. There were many herbs stored in the side hall. One could not take in all of them at a glance. Spirit heartgrass, dancing butterfly flower, traceless stem. There are so many rare herbs. Soon, Duan Lingtian was attracted by the many herbs in the side hall. He lost his composure and exclaimed softly. Although these herbs were not as good as the soul-fixing root and soul-stabilizing grass that he desperately wanted, they were still rare herbs. Lu Rui stood at the side. He was not surprised by Duan Lingtian's loss of composure. He still remembered. When he first came here, he was much older than Elder Duan. However, his composure was not as good as Elder Duan's. At that time, he could not move his feet for a long time when he saw the pile of rare herbs. In the end, it was the former clan leader who slapped him that woke him up. Clan leader, where are the herbs that you mentioned? Duan Lingtian asked as he looked at Lu Rui. There were so many herbs here. It would take him at least a few days to search through all of them. He had a headache when he thought of this. He could not help but ask Lu Rui. Now, he could only hope that Lu Rui would bring the herbs to the side for him to choose from. I've asked someone to separate the herbs and put them over there. Lu Rui pointed to a corner of the side hall and said. Duan Lingtian was relieved when he heard this. He walked to the corner of the side hall and pulled the dustproof cloth that covered the pile of herbs. After the dustproof cloth was pulled away, Duan Lingtian's eyes opened up. There were dozens of different herbs. Duan Lingtian looked around. The herbs that he saw were more or less similar to the soul-fixing root and soul-stabilizing grass that he was looking for. Thank you for your effort, clan leader. After taking a deep breath, Duan Lingtian turned to look at Lu Rui and said solemnly. The neat pile of herbs in front of him was obviously collected recently. It was enough to show Lu Rui's effort. It made Duan Lingtian feel warm from the bottom of his heart. Although he was a grade 1 alchemist, he had not refined a single pill for the Lu clan since he joined the Lu clan a few days ago. It could be said that he had not contributed anything to the Lu clan. Under such circumstances, Lu Rui's contribution on behalf of the Lu clan made him feel grateful from the bottom of his heart. I hope Elder Duan can find what you're looking for, Lu Rui said with a smile. All right. Duan Lingtian nodded and looked at the pile of herbs in front of him again. Soon, his eyes were fixed on one of the herbs. He could not move his eyes away. At the same time, the atmosphere in the side hall became heavy. Hiss! Hiss! All that could be heard was Duan Lingtian's heavy breathing. Lu Rui could not help but feel curious when he heard Duan Lingtian's heavy breathing. He took a step forward and arrived next to Duan Lingtian like a gust of wind. He followed Duan Lingtian's gaze and looked over. At the same time, a root-shaped herb appeared before his eyes. All of the roots of this root-shaped medicinal herb were curled together and twisted into a ball. It looked extremely strange. This can't be the soul-fixing root, right? Lu Rui asked in shock. The root-shaped herb before his eyes was very different from the description of the soul-fixing root that he had read in the ancient books. The books did not mention that the roots of the soul-fixing root would curl up. Chapter 1078. It's not an ordinary soul-fixing root? A hint of confusion could be seen in Lu Rui's eyes when he saw Duan Lingtian had woken up from his stupor. He did not know what Duan Lingtian meant at all. Yes, Duan Lingtian, who was awakened by Lu Rui, had an excited expression on his face. An ordinary soul-fixing root has a straight root. However, once it has lived for more than 1,000 years, its root will begin to curl up. The longer it lives in this world, the more its root will curl up. With a raise of his hand, Duanling Tian grabbed the soul-fixing root that was completely curled up in his hand. Excitement could be seen in his eyes. If that's the case, doesn't this mean that this soul-fixing root has existed for a very long time? Lu Rui's eyes lit up when he heard Duanling Tian's words. Elder Duan, can you deduce how long it has lived in this world? Judging from the degree to which its roots have shrunk, it has lived in this world for at least 5,000 years. This soul-fixing root can be called a coiling dragon root, Duanling Tian said as he studied the soul-fixing root in his hand. Coiling dragon root. Lu Rui's eyes widened when he heard Duanling Tian's words. Naturally, he had heard of the coiling dragon root before. The coiling dragon root was not just a name for a root-shaped medicinal herb. Any rare root-shaped medicinal herb that had lived for more than 5,000 years could be called a coiling dragon root. I can't believe this soul-fixing root has transformed into a coiling dragon root. No wonder I missed it and didn't bring it away. Lu Rui exclaimed. It's a good thing Elder Duan is so knowledgeable that you recognized it with just a glance. Otherwise, even if it continued to stay in our Lu clan's treasure vault, I'm afraid it would only collect dust in the end. Congratulations, Elder Duan. After Lu Rui returned to his senses, he smiled and congratulated Duanling Tian. Thank you, clan leader. Duanling Tian quickly thanked him and put the soul-fixing root away in his spatial ring, as though he had just obtained a treasure. Even now, his surging emotions were still unable to calm down for a long time. No matter if it was the soul-fixing root or the soul-stabilizing grass, they were both extremely rare treasures of heaven and earth in the entire Cloud continent. Many people might not be able to see them in their entire lifetime. Before this, Duanling Tian would never have thought he would be able to obtain the soul-fixing root from the Lu clan. Although he had followed Lu Rui to the Lu clan's treasure vault, he had the intention of trying his luck here as a last resort. He never thought that he would be able to find the soul-fixing root or the soul-stabilizing grass here. Perhaps this is what they mean by unintentionally planting a willow and growing a shade. Duanling Tian thought to himself, with this soul-fixing root, I can concoct a medicinal liquid for Tian Wu to consume and heal a part of her soul. I only hope that Tian Wu can wake up after the part of her soul is healed. Duanling Tian muttered to himself. In the end, his face was filled with apprehension. Elder Duan, continue looking. See if you can find the soul-stabilizing grass as well, Lu Rui said with a smile. Duanling Tian nodded and began to look at the dozens of medicinal herbs in front of him. In the end he found nothing. There's no soul-stabilizing grass here. Although there was no soul-stabilizing grass, Duanling Tian was very surprised to be able to obtain the soul-fixing root. Clan leader, I'd like to return first. Duanling Tian was eager to return. He only wanted to concoct the medicinal liquid for Feng Tianwu as soon as possible. He did not want to stay here for even a second longer. Alright. As the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui was also a shrewd person. Naturally, he could hear the urgency in Duanling Tian's voice. Both of them left the side hall where the medicinal herbs were stored and walked out. They would return to where they came from. Clan leader, if the clan needs grade 1 pills, you can give me a list. As long as the medicinal herbs are here, I can refine the grade 1 pills for the clan. Duanling Tian said to Lu Rui solemnly. Putting aside the fact that he still needed to rely on the Lu clan in the future, he now owed the Lu clan a huge favor. Perhaps Lu Rui did not know the true value of the soul-fixing root, but he knew it very well. It was a treasure of heaven and earth that could repair one's soul. It was not something that ordinary rare medicinal herbs could compare to. Lu Rui's eyes lit up when he heard Duanling Tian's words. Alright. I'll give you a list later and give you the medicinal herbs, Elder Duan. Grade 1 pills. Although the Lu clan had one as well, it was refined by the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land. Moreover, they had to pay a huge sum of money. That was not all. The Alchemist Guild's main guild had set a limit every time he refined grade 1 pills for the Lu clan. This made them feel helpless. They could not help but wonder why the clan could not produce another grade 1 alchemist. If the Lu clan could produce a grade 1 alchemist, why would they need to ask the Alchemist Guild's main guild for help? The Lu clan had only produced a grade 1 alchemist close to 1,000 years ago. Due to this reason, Duan Lingtian's appearance had given the Lu clan hope. This meant that the Lu clan would no longer have to look for other people if they wanted grade 1 pills in the future. This was one of the reasons why the Lu clan's people, including the clan leader Lu Rui, treated Duan Lingtian with respect when he revealed his identity as a grade 1 alchemist and expressed his intention to join the Lu clan. The Lu clan urgently needed a grade 1 alchemist to carry the golden name of the alchemist clan. Soon after, Duan Lingtian and Lu Rui left the Lu clan's treasure vault and returned to the east side of the Lu clan's mansion. Elder Duan, you don't have to worry about the soul-fixing herb. I'll get someone to spread the news and offer a reward for the soul-fixing herb. Before they parted ways, Lu Rui looked at Duan Lingtian and said, however, before that, please draw a detailed picture of the soul-fixing herb for me. My understanding of the soul-fixing herb is limited to the rough records in the ancient books. I'm afraid other people might not be able to recognize the soul-fixing herb even if they see it. Lu Rui told him his plan. Reward. Upon hearing Lu Rui's words, Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up immediately. He took the pen and paper from Lu Rui and quickly drew the soul-fixing herb that he remembered the reincarnation Emperor Wu had seen a few times. He did not let go of any detail. After spending an entire 15 minutes, Duan Lingtian finally drew a complete soul-stabilizing grass. Good drawing. Lu Rui's eyes gleamed when he saw the lifelike herb on the drawing that Duan Lingtian handed to him. He smiled and said, "We'll use this drawing as a blueprint and make tens of thousands of copies. We'll be able to mobilize the entire northern desert and even half of the people in the southern outer land to search for the soul-fixing herb." Clan leader, what kind of reward are you going to use? Duan Lingtian asked. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Lu Rui muttered to himself, I'll have to think about the reward carefully. An ordinary reward isn't enough to mobilize all the martial artists who know about this matter to help search for the soul-fixing herb. Clan leader, I have a suggestion. A thought popped up in Duan Lingtian's mind out of nowhere. Please speak, Elder Duan. Lu Rui looked at Duan Lingtian. How about this? The Lu clan has promised that the person who finds the soul-stabilizing grass will be rewarded with a grade 1 spirit weapon and 10 grade 1 life recovery pills. Duan Lingtian said bluntly. A grade 1 spirit weapon. 10 grade 1 life recovery pills. The moment Duan Lingtian's words left his mouth, Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan, was taken aback. Regardless of whether it was a grade 1 spirit weapon or a grade 1 life recovery pill, they were extremely precious treasures even in the inner land, let alone in the outer land. If they appeared in the outer land, it was enough to make people fight over them. Elder Duan, grade 1 life recovery pills are still manageable. Our Lu clan still has more than 10 of them in stock. Even if we don't have enough, you can still refine them. Lu Rui took a deep breath to calm himself down before he continued, however. As for grade 1 spirit weapons, even our Lu clan only has 4 of them. 3 of them are in the hands of the 3 guardian elders, and 1 of them is in my hands. These 4 grade 1 spirit weapons were passed down from our Lu clan's ancestors. Lu Rui was interrupted as soon as he reached this part of his sentence. Clan leader, I think you've misunderstood. Duan Lingtian interrupted Lu Rui. He knew Lu Rui had misunderstood him. Misunderstood? Lu Rui was stunned. Clan leader, I didn't intend to ask the clan for the reward that I suggested earlier. I'm already very grateful that the clan is willing to announce the reward through its extensive network. Duan Lingtian nodded before he continued to say, as for the grade 1 spirit weapon and the 10 grade 1 life recovery pills, I'll personally pay for them. Lu Rui sighed in relief when he heard this. I forgot that since you're a grade 1 alchemist, it's not difficult for you to obtain a grade 1 spirit weapon, Elder Duan. A grade 1 alchemist could refine grade 1 pills as long as they had sufficient medicinal herbs. A certain amount of grade 1 pills could be exchanged for a grade 1 spirit weapon refined by a grade 1 weapon craftsman. Naturally, this was just Lu Rui's idea. If Lu Rui knew that the purple-clad young man standing before him was not only a grade 1 alchemist, but also a grade 1 weapon craftsman, one could only imagine how he would react. Clan leader, I'll have to trouble you with this, Duan Lingtian said solemnly. Don't worry, Elder Duan. Lu Rui nodded. I'll definitely handle this properly for you. With the reward that you promised, I believe even a martial monarch would be tempted to help you look for the soul-stabilizing herb personally. That's exactly what I want. Duan Lingtian smiled. After parting ways with Lu Rui, Duan Lingtian's body flashed like an arrow that was released from a bow, heading straight to the mansion that he was staying in. Tianwu, elder brother Duan has already found the soul-stabilizing root. With the 5,000-year medicinal efficacy of the soul-stabilizing root, it's enough to heal half of your soul injury. Chapter 1079. Whoosh! The door was tightly shut, and in the extremely quiet room, a soft sound came out of nowhere. A purple-clad young man stood in front of the bed. A flame appeared in his palm out of thin air. It was a flame that had solidified. The flame was different from an ordinary flame. This was because the flame was completely purple. Not only that, but around the purple flames, there was also a faint layer of golden edges. Purple gold pill fire. It was also a grade 1 pill fire. The purple-clad young man was none other than Duan Lingtian, who had returned after parting with Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan. Duan Lingtian returned to his room immediately after he returned. After he returned to his room, he carried Feng Tianwu, who was sleeping in the ice coffin, and placed her on the bed. Then he condensed a grade 1 pill fire. A soul-fixing root that has survived for 5,000 years can only be smelted by a pill fire of the first grade or above. Duan Lingtian's lips suddenly moved as he muttered to himself. If there was a second person who was sober and heard Duan Lingtian's words, he would definitely be baffled. Isn't a grade 1 pill fire the highest grade pill fire? How can there be a grade 1 pill fire or above? That person would definitely ask such a question. Naturally, that person did not know about the existence of quasi-royal grade alchemists and royal grade alchemists. Otherwise, he would not have said that. Royal grade alchemists were the real alchemists who stood at the peak of Cloud Continent. As he muttered to himself, Duan Lingtian casually took out a strange root-shaped medicinal herb. All the roots of the root-shaped medicinal herb were curled together. It looked extremely strange. It was the soul-fixing root. After a while, the soul-fixing root was led by Duan Lingtian to the top of the grade 1 pill fire, and allowed the grade 1 pill fire to envelop it completely. After 15 minutes there was still no change to the soul-fixing root. As expected of a soul-fixing root that has lived for 5,000 years. A grade 1 pill fire without the help of the cauldron is not enough to smelt it in 15 minutes. Duan Lingtian could not help but exclaim. Then Duan Lingtian took out the medicine cauldron, and threw the soul-fixing root inside. With the help of the cauldron, Duan Lingtian quickly smelted the soul-fixing root, and added some common herbs to successfully refine the medicinal liquid he needed. It wasn't that he didn't want to concoct a condensed pill, but the soul-fixing root after being smelted couldn't be condensed into a pill, so he could only use it to concoct medicinal liquid. Pa! Duan Lingtian lifted his hand and slapped his palm on the cauldron. The grade 1 pill fire surrounded the cauldron's mouth and formed a faint barrier. Whoosh! Subsequently, a puddle of medicinal liquid that was as black as ink shot out like an arrow and pierced through the barrier formed by the grade 1 pill fire before stopping in midair. An invisible force shot out from Duan Lingtian's hand, and guided the pool of medicinal liquid to roll in the air. After putting away the medicine cauldron, Duan Lingtian guided the medicinal liquid to the front of the bed. He used his other hand to help Feng Tianwu up from the bed so that she was half lying on the bed. At the same time, his hand slowly opened Feng Tianwu's slightly dry little mouth. Whoosh! At this moment, the medicinal liquid that Duan Lingtian guided arrived at Feng Tianwu's mouth. Drop by drop, it slowly seeped into her mouth and into her body. After a while, Duan Lingtian sent all the medicinal liquid into Feng Tianwu's body. Tianwu. After everything was done, Duan Lingtian sighed in relief. At the same time, he extended his spiritual energy to observe the direction of the medicinal liquid, refined by the soul-fixing root. Duan Lingtian could clearly sense it with his spiritual energy. After the medicinal liquid seeped into Feng Tianwu's body, it went straight to her mind. After a while, it gathered in her mind and rushed to her damaged soul. Her soul was like a ball of flame that hung in the depths of her mind and flickered continuously. A corner of Feng Tianwu's soul was damaged. This was also the root cause of her unconsciousness. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Waves of medicinal effects gathered in Feng Tianwu's mind and swept out from all directions. In a short moment, they fused into her soul and gathered together. Feng Tianwu's soul was completely shrouded. She could only see the medicinal liquid rolling outside her soul. Logically speaking, if there's only the soul-fixing root, it's impossible for Tianwu's soul to fully recover. Even if it's a soul-fixing root that has lived in this world for 5,000 years, it's still impossible. Duanling Tian was a little absent-minded. I wonder if Tianwu will be able to wake up. If she wakes up, I'm afraid there'll be some negative effects from the damage to her soul. Duanling Tian's heart jolted as he prepared for the worst. I hope the clan leader can really reward me with the soul-fixing herb. In that case, Tianwu's soul will be completely healed. When he thought of this, Duanling Tian's face was filled with anticipation. Time passed by quietly. Feng Tianwu's soul was still enveloped by the rolling medicinal liquid. It made it difficult for Duanling Tian's spiritual energy to get close to her. He could only watch from afar. However, Duanling Tian waited silently by the bed, waiting for the final result. He knew there would be two possible outcomes when the medicinal liquid completely seeped into Feng Tianwu's soul. One of the outcomes was none other than Feng Tianwu continuing to be unconscious, and she would only be able to wake up once she consumed the medicinal liquid refined from the soul-stabilizing grass. The other outcome was that Feng Tianwu would wake up, but her soul would still be in a damaged state. It would inevitably have some negative effects on her. Night gradually fell. It was so dark that one could not even see one's own fingers. However, it did not affect Duanling Tian at all. The medicinal liquid was still rolling in her soul. Duanling Tian's extended spiritual energy seemed to be constantly reporting the situation of Feng Tianwu's soul in the depths of her mind to him. He sat by the bed and waited patiently. At some point, the light of dawn shrouded the earth, and the entire room was bright again. It's done. At this moment, Duanling Tian noticed that the medicinal liquid refined from the soul-fixing herb had completely seeped into Feng Tianwu's soul and healed part of the damage to Feng Tianwu's soul. Tianwu. After withdrawing his spiritual energy, Duanling Tian looked at Feng Tianwu anxiously. At the same time, he reached out and held her hand. Due to the stimulation of the cold air from lying in the ice coffin, Feng Tianwu's hand was very hot. Even though she had been out of the ice coffin for an entire day, her hand was still so hot. However, Duanling Tian did not care about this. His eyes were firmly fixed on Feng Tianwu's beautiful face. He only wanted to know if Feng Tianwu, whose soul had been partially healed, would wake up because of this. Time passed by quietly. Soon half an hour had passed. Feng Tianwu still did not show any signs of waking up. Sigh. Upon seeing this, Duanling Tian could not help but sigh. At the same time, he withdrew his gaze and muttered, "It seems like I'll have to wait until I find the soul-fixing herb to wake Tianwu up." At this moment, a soft sound pierced Duanling Tian's ears. It was as if thunder had pierced his ears. It caused his pupils to shrink, and he stood up abruptly. His eyes swept out at lightning speed and once again locked onto the red-clad lady on the bed, Feng Tianwu. He saw Feng Tianwu's small mouth moving slightly. Her beautiful face also showed signs of movement. Subsequently, her pair of beautiful eyes that were like water opened, and the first thing she saw was Duanling Tian, who was looking at her. However, there were no unusual emotions in her eyes at all. Unfamiliar. When Feng Tianwu looked at Duanling Tian, her eyes were extremely unfamiliar. It was as if she had never known Duanling Tian. This gaze that was filled with unfamiliarity pierced Duanling Tian to the point he felt a wave of heartache. It seems like what I'm most worried about has happened, Duanling Tian muttered to himself. Whoosh! Before Duanling Tian could react, a red light flashed before his eyes. In the next moment, he realized that Feng Tianwu had left the bed and disappeared before his eyes. At the same time, he clearly felt a scorching aura behind him. Tianwu. Duanling Tian turned around and looked at Feng Tianwu, who was floating in the air. Her red clothes were fluttering, and waves of scorching flames rose around her body. He realized that Feng Tianwu's gaze still did not contain any emotion. Moreover, it was extremely unfamiliar. It was as if she was looking at a stranger. Duan Lingtian took a deep breath and suppressed his restless emotions. He asked gently, Tianwu, don't you recognize me? I'm elder brother Duan. Elder brother Duan? Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Feng Tianwu, who was standing in the air, frowned. She seemed to be thinking about something. The red clothes on her body fluttered along with the scorching flames rolling around her body, making her look like a fire spirit, a lost fire spirit. Yes, I'm elder brother Duan. Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian saw that Tianwu seemed to be thinking. He immediately seized the opportunity and tried to awaken her memory. I don't know you. However, what he waited for was Feng Tianwu's cold shout. It wasn't just that. Along with Feng Tianwu's cold shout, her peerlessly beautiful face seemed to be covered in a layer of frost, and even the flames that coiled around her body were unable to melt the frost. Whoosh! As Feng Tianwu raised her hand, a sword appeared in her hand. It was a 5-foot-long red soft sword that was as thin as a cicada's wing. It was the quasi-royal grade spiritual sword that Duan Lingtian had given her in the past. However, at this moment, she pointed the sword that Duan Lingtian had given her at Duan Lingtian and shouted, Who are you? Young master! Young master! At this moment, a series of hurried voices came from outside the door. It was Xiong Quan who had rushed over when he heard from the servant that there was an unusual movement in Duan Lingtian's room. However, he did not receive any response. Tianwu, I'm elder brother Duan. Have you forgotten? The sword in your hand was given to you by me not long ago. Have you forgotten all of this? Even when Feng Tianwu pointed the sword at him, Duan Lingtian was not alarmed at all. He looked at Feng Tianwu and patiently tried to awaken Feng Tianwu's memory. Elder brother Duan, you're the one who gave me this sword? Feng Tianwu muttered as she looked at Duan Lingtian and the sword in her hand. Yes. Do you remember now? Duan Lingtian nodded and looked at Feng Tianwu with anticipation. Chapter 1080. However, just as Duan Lingtian was looking at Feng Tianwu expectantly, a sudden change occurred. Whoosh! Feng Tianwu made her move. She actually stabbed her sword at him. It was extremely sudden and ferocious. At this moment, the flames on her body seemed to be filled with an extremely cold aura, causing Duan Lingtian to feel a chill in his heart. Feng Tianwu's speed was not considered fast in Duan Lingtian's eyes. However, he had no intention of dodging. He stood there quietly. His eyes were filled with tenderness as he stared at Feng Tianwu, who was stabbing her sword at him for no reason. At this moment, it was as though the only thing left in his world was the fiery red figure that was getting closer and closer. Even though the figure seemed to have transformed into a red giant beast in the blink of an eye and was about to devour him, his expression and gaze did not change at all. He was still as gentle as before. Whoosh! Feng Tianwu, whose face seemed to be covered with a layer of frost, swept her sword at Duan Lingtian's heart. It was as though she wanted to kill Duan Lingtian with one strike. However, her speed slowed down when she realized that Duan Lingtian did not move. However, she was too close to Duan Lingtian. Even though her movements were slow, the sword in her hand was already not far from Duan Lingtian's chest in an instant. Why didn't he dodge? Why do I feel a pain in my heart when I attack him? Feng Tianwu, who seemed to have transformed into a ball of flame and arrived in front of Duan Lingtian in an instant, felt her heart tremble for no reason. At the same time, she felt a wave of panic in her heart. In a flash, her eyes happened to catch a glimpse of the sword that was just inches away from Duan Lingtian's heart. She hurriedly moved her sword away, wanting to retrieve it. Unfortunately, she was still too slow. The strong inertia continued to carry her forward and sent the sword in her hand into the purple-clad young man's chest. Poof! Blood splattered everywhere, splattering on her body and her hand. Looking at the blood on her hand, she felt her heart ache. It hurts. She let go of the sword in her hand and clutched her chest. She was in a daze, as if she had lost something in that instant. Helplessness and panic almost caused her to stop breathing. Why would my heart ache? Do I really know him? Why is his gaze so gentle? What is my relationship with him? Why didn't he dodge? Why? Feng Tianwu's beautiful face was deathly pale. She lowered her head and muttered to herself in a daze. Bang! Until a loud sound rang out, causing her to regain her senses. Young master! After knocking open the door and seeing the scene in front of him, Xiong Quan's expression changed greatly. He hurriedly flew in and arrived in front of the swaying purple figure in an instant. Whoosh! With a raise of his hand, Xiong Quan pulled out the red soft sword from the chest of the purple-clothed young man and threw it on the ground. At the same time, he used his origin energy to help stop the bleeding. Fortunately, Xiong Quan heaved a sigh of relief when he realized that the sword had missed the heart and that the life of the purple-robed young man was not in danger. Cough! Duan Lingtian, who had been staring blankly at Feng Tianwu as though he had lost his soul and did not feel anything when Feng Tianwu's sword pierced his chest, finally moved after Xiong Quan pulled out the sword. He coughed and spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood stained the ground and formed a dazzling red rose. Young master? Who hurt you? Xiong Quan's face sank, and killing intent flashed in his eyes. At this moment he seemed to have forgotten that Duan Lingtian was stronger than him. Someone who could hurt Duan Lingtian was not a reality that he could deal with. Soon Xiong Quan obtained his answer. This answer made him dumbstruck. Why didn't you dodge? An emotionless voice sounded, causing Xiong Quan to shift his gaze to the woman in red who was not far away. Miss Tianwu, why you're awake? Xiong Quan's eyes widened in disbelief. Young master, why you've found the soul-fixing root and soul-stabilizing herb for Miss Tianwu? This Lu clan is pretty good. They even have the two extremely rare treasures of heaven and earth that you mentioned in Cloud Continent. Xiong Quan seemed to have guessed something, and a smile appeared on his face. However, his smile quickly froze. This was because he noticed the bloodstain on Feng Tianwu's hand. His expression changed immediately. Miss Tianwu, why you're the one who stabbed young master? If it was someone else, he would have risked his life to avenge his young master even if he knew he was no match for them. However, this person was Feng Tianwu. She was his young master's woman and the future young mistress. Although he was furious, there was nothing he could do. Why should I dodge? Why you're really going to kill me? Duan Lingtian, whose face was pale due to the excessive blood loss, asked Feng Tianwu in return. Upon hearing this, Feng Tianwu fell silent. Looking at the man's pale face, she felt a sharp pain in her heart. It was as though her heart had been broken into two. She did not know why she felt that way. Could it be? I really knew him in the past? But why can't I remember anything? No matter how hard Feng Tianwu racked her brains, she could not recall anything about the man before her. However, she felt an inexplicable pain in her heart when the man before her was hurt. She had no choice but to believe that the man before her had a close relationship with her past self. At this moment, the enmity Feng Tianwu had towards Duan Lingtian vanished without a trace. Duan Lingtian heaved a sigh of relief when he realized this. A heartfelt smile crept up the corner of his mouth. He knew he was right not to dodge earlier. At the very least, he had broken through Tianwu's psychological barrier after she had temporarily lost her memory. This was the beginning of success. Tianwu no longer rejected him after she had lost her memory. Perhaps she would be able to accept him completely soon. If he had dodged earlier, Feng Tianwu would definitely attack him even more crazily after she had lost her memory. Feng Tianwu would not reject him like she did now. Young master, what's going on between you and Miss Tianwu? Xiong Quan, who was standing at the side, was puzzled when he saw Duan Lingtian was still smiling even though he was injured. Xiong Quan, I only found the soul-fixing root in the Lu clan. I didn't find the soul-stabilizing grass. Although Tianwu woke up after consuming the medicinal liquid refined from the soul-fixing root, she seemed to have lost her memory of me. Duan Lingtian gave a simple explanation to Xiong Quan. Lost her memory? I see. When Xiong Quan heard Duan Lingtian's words earlier, he felt like he was listening to a fairy tale. He only regained his senses after a while. At the same time, realization dawned on him. This would explain why Miss Tianwu, who was deeply in love with his young master, would hurt him. As it turned out, Miss Tianwu had lost her memory. "Young master, what should we do now?" Xiongquan asked. "As long as we find the soul-stabilizing grass and refine the medicinal liquid for Tianwu to consume, her soul will be completely healed. At that time, she'll naturally remember everything that happened in the past." Duanling Tian said. "That's good." Xiongquan nodded and heaved a sigh of relief. He was really worried that Miss Tianwu would not be able to recover that day. The conversation between Duanling Tian and Xiongquan fell into Feng Tianwu's ears. Why did I lose my memory?" Feng Tianwu asked as she looked at Duanling Tian. Although her face was still covered with a layer of frost, she no longer rejected Duanling Tian like before. This could be seen when she took the initiative to talk to Duanling Tian. When Duanling Tian heard Feng Tianwu's question, he could not help but recall the past. To him, it was undoubtedly a painful past that he could not bear to look back on. However, in the face of Feng Tianwu, who had lost her memory, he still told her everything. He mainly told her how Feng Tianwu had forcefully raised her fire profundity, and even caused the fire spirit body's energy in her body to collapse because of him. Naturally, he also told her how he suppressed the violent fire spirit body's energy in Feng Tianwu's body after he devilified, but her soul was still severely injured. Then he told her what happened after that. "So that's how it is. In the past, I was willing to sacrifice everything for you, including my own life?" Feng Tianwu muttered to herself. Although Feng Tianwu learned about the past from Duanling Tian, she had lost her memory after all. Listening to Duanling Tian's recount of the past was more like listening to a story. It was impossible for her to be as close to Duanling Tian as before. Although she was colder than before, she could still accept Duanling Tian and no longer rejected Duanling Tian. Duanling Tian was very satisfied with this. At the very least, he did not have to worry about Tianwu attacking him again. Now all I have to do is wait for the soul-stabilizing herb to restore Tianwu's memory. Tianwu, who hasn't restored her memory, won't be able to revert to her previous self, even if she knows about the past. Duanling Tian thought to himself. The current Feng Tianwu was as cold as ice. She was completely different from before. Apart from Duanling Tian, she had a cold expression on her face when she faced everyone else. It was as though she owed her a lot of money. Duanling Tian felt helpless about this. He tried to change her, but in the end he realized there was nothing he could do. In the end, Duanling Tian had no choice but to let her be. In a mansion on the east side of the Lu clan's estate. Whoosh! A swift figure descended from the sky like an eagle and landed steadily in the backyard of the mansion. In the backyard pavilion, a gray-clad young man sat in front of a stone table with a wooden sword in his hand. His face was gloomy, and no one knew what he was thinking about. "Young master, are you thinking about little young master again?" The person who came was an old man. He saw the wooden sword in the gray-clad young man's hand as soon as he walked into the pavilion. "Elder Guan, do you still remember this wooden sword?" The gray-clad young man asked as he twirled the wooden sword in his hand. "Yes." The old man nodded and sighed. "This is the wooden sword that you personally made for the young master on his 5th birthday. Back then, the young master was very happy when he received this gift." "That's right. In the blink of an eye, almost 30 years have passed." Chapter 1081. Young Master, I've heard of something. When the old man saw that his young master was reminiscing about the past, he quickly changed the topic. "It has something to do with the Duanling Tian?" The gray-clad young man was none other than Lu Song, the first young master of Lu clan. His eyes gleamed as he looked at the old man. "Yes." The old man nodded. "Speak," Lu Song said. "Today, the clan leader has issued a bounty to the entire northern mountain land, and even the southern outer land," the old man said. "A bounty? However, what does the patriarch issuing a reward have to do with Duanling Tian?" Lu Song asked with a frown. "What if the clan leader issued the bounty on behalf of the Duanling Tian?" the old man asked. Oh, Lu Song's interest was piqued when he heard the old man's words. What kind of bounty did the clan leader issue on behalf of the Duanling Tian? "He's looking for a rare medicinal herb called the soul-stabilizing grass." The old man told him what he had heard. At the same time he raised his hand, and a painting appeared out of thin air in his hand. There was a lifelike grass on the painting. This is the painting that the clan leader asked someone to copy and distribute. He's looking for this grass. The old man added. I've never seen this grass before. Lu Song looked at the grass on the painting and shook his head with a frown. Do you know why the Duanlingtian wants this grass? I've never heard of it. The old man shook his head. Although I don't know why he wants this grass, one thing's for sure. This grass is very important to him, and he's desperate to get his hands on it. What do you mean? Lu Song looked at the old man in confusion. Young master, do you know what reward the Duanlingtian promised to the person who finds this grass when he asked the clan leader to issue this bounty? The old man asked. Don't keep me in suspense. How would I know? Lu Song said impatiently. Hurry up and say it. The Duanlingtian promised a grade 1 spirit weapon and 10 grade 1 life recovery pills for this bounty. The old man enunciated each word clearly. When he mentioned the grade 1 spirit weapon, his eyes gleamed with greed. Although he was a martial monarch, the best spirit weapon he had was only a grade 2 spirit weapon. Although the Lu clan had a few grade 1 spirit weapons with his current status, he was destined to not be able to obtain them. Unless his young master became the clan leader of Lu clan one day, he might be able to benefit from it and obtain a grade 1 spirit weapon to further improve his strength. A first grade spiritual weapon. Hearing the old man's words, Lu Song's pupils shrank. His hand trembled, and he accidentally broke the wooden sword in his hand. However, he did not seem to notice it at all. He stared at the old man before him. Are you sure it's a grade 1 spirit weapon? Yes. The old man nodded affirmatively. For this reason I have confirmed it over and over again. There are only 4 grade 1 spirit weapons in the clan. The clan leader is actually going to give up one of them for Duanlingtian? A cold gleam flashed in Lu Song's eyes, and a hint of jealousy appeared on his face. The grade 1 spirit weapon that's on the bounty list is not the clan's grade 1 spirit weapon. The old man shook his head. Not the clan's grade 1 spirit weapon? Lu Song was stunned. Then he asked, Don't tell me it's Duanlingtian's grade 1 spirit weapon? I believe he can refine a grade 1 life recovery pill. However, in the entire southern outer land, only the guild master of the Weapons Craftsman Guild's main guild can refine a grade 1 spirit weapon. A grade 1 spirit weapon is extremely rare even in the entire southern outer land. Even many martial monarchs from second-rate forces might not even have a grade 1 spirit weapon. Lu Song said. Based on his tone, it was obvious he did not think Duanlingtian would be able to take out a grade 1 spirit weapon. Young master, don't forget that Duanlingtian is a grade 1 alchemist. As long as he's willing, he can use a grade 1 pill to exchange for a grade 1 spirit weapon, the old man said. That's right. Now that you mention it, there's a possibility. Looks like Duanlingtian has quite a few treasures on him. Lu Song nodded. His eyes gleamed with greed. Perhaps this is our chance. Lu Song muttered with a cold smile on his face. He seemed to have recalled something. Chance? The old man was puzzled. Yes, chance. A chance to kill Duanlingtian. The moment Lu Song's words left his mouth, a cold gleam shot out of his eyes. It was only when his gaze inadvertently fell on the broken wooden sword in his hand that he calmed down again. Xiao Huai, don't worry. I'll avenge you. I'm not your big brother if I don't tear Duanlingtian into pieces, Lu Song said as he looked at the wooden sword. The old man's eyes lit up when he heard Lu Song's words. He knew his young master very well. If he wasn't completely confident, he would never have said those words that were filled with confidence. He was looking forward to it. Young master, what's your plan to kill Duanlingtian? The old man could not help but ask. Lu Song did not hide anything from the old man. He told the old man the plan that had flashed in his mind earlier. After he finished speaking, Lu Song looked at the old man and asked, What do you think of this plan? Your wise young master. A bright smile appeared on the old man's face when he heard the plan. It seems like not only will you avenge little young master, but you'll also be able to make a fortune. A smug smile appeared on Lu Song's face when he heard the old man's praise. Duanlingtian, just you wait. Soon after, a purple figure appeared in his mind. Killing intent shot out from his eyes as though he was about to devour his target. A huge net that was filled with conspiracies was closing in on Duan Lingtian. It was waiting for him to fall into it and be doomed eternally. Naturally, Duan Lingtian was unaware of all this. Due to the life recovery pill and a few days of recuperation, the injury that Tian Wu left on Duan Lingtian had finally healed. However, there was still a scar on his chest. The life recovery pill could have completely removed the scar, but Duan Lingtian had purposely left it behind. Leaving it behind is also an unforgettable memory. A faint smile appeared on Duan Lingtian's face as he touched the scar on his chest while he was bathing. After he finished bathing, he cleaned himself up before he sat on the bed and began to cultivate. At this moment, the only thing left in the room was the empty ice coffin. As for Tian Wu, he asked the servant to arrange for her to stay in the room next door. 9 dragons wore sovereign technique, roaming dragon transformation. Duan Lingtian began to immerse himself in his cultivation before he knew it. He was holding 2 different concept fragments in his hand. He was comprehending the 2 different concepts as he cultivated. Why do I still feel like something's not right? Soon after, Duan Lingtian opened his eyes. He had a confused expression on his face as though he had encountered something that puzzled him. This is not the first time. I didn't have this feeling when I comprehended 2 different concepts at the same time. Duan Lingtian shook his head as he closed his eyes again. He continued to cultivate and comprehend the 2 different concepts. Soon after, he opened his eyes again. What's going on? Duan Lingtian frowned. There was only confusion on his face. Ever since he left the Crimson Sky Kingdom, he felt like something was not right every time he comprehended 2 different concepts through 2 different concept fragments at the same time. Every time he comprehended a concept, he would be slightly distracted. Sometimes he would be distracted when he comprehended one concept, and sometimes he would be distracted when he comprehended another concept. I must find the reason this time. Duan Lingtian was troubled by this. It greatly affected his efficiency in comprehending concepts. As time went by, Duan Lingtian experimented again and again. He wanted to find the reason why he was distracted when he comprehended concepts. After an hour, he finally found the reason. Is this even possible? After finding out the reason, Duan Lingtian did not know whether to laugh or cry. If there was a second person here and looked carefully at Duan Lingtian's hand, he would definitely notice that Duan Lingtian had a total of 3 concept fragments in his hand. 3 completely different concept fragments. Duan Lingtian had experimented earlier. Currently, he could comprehend 3 different concepts at the same time through 3 different concept fragments at the same time. Moreover, the speed at which he comprehended the 3 concepts was not slow at all. Most importantly, the feeling of being distracted was completely gone. As it turns out, the reason why I'm distracted is because another part of my consciousness has been separated. It must be the aftereffect of being devilified by the Devil Seal tablet for the 2nd time in the Crimson Sky Kingdom. It was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to figure this out. He still remembered. The reason he could comprehend 2 different concepts through 2 different concept fragments at the same time was because of the aftereffect of being devilified by the Devil Seal tablet for the first time. At that time, his consciousness was forcefully divided into 2. This time, a third part of his consciousness was forcefully divided, allowing him to comprehend 3 different concepts through 3 different concept fragments at the same time. All in all, this aftereffect is not a bad thing. It's completely different from the aftereffect of not being able to control my emotions. The latter will only harm me, but the former will help me. After figuring out the cause and effect of everything, Duan Lingtian sighed in relief. It was better to know everything than to not know. I can't believe the thing that troubled me for so long was actually because my consciousness was divided into 3. Duan Lingtian shook his head and smiled wryly. Now that my consciousness has been divided into 3, I can comprehend 3 different concepts through 3 different concept fragments at the same time. My speed of comprehending concepts has doubled again. When he thought of this, Duan Lingtian was secretly delighted. At the same time, he closed his eyes and focused on cultivating again. Chapter 1082. At this moment, Duan Lingtian was completely immersed in his cultivation. He was immersed in comprehending the concept. Comprehending 3 different concepts at the same time gave him a brand new feeling. It was a delightful feeling. This feeling was something he had never felt before. Although there was no substantial improvement in his strength after a night of cultivation, Duan Lingtian was still happy. He was happy that his consciousness was divided into 3. He was happy that he could comprehend 3 different concepts at the same time. Elder Duan. When the sun was high up in the sky, Duan Lingtian, who had just finished washing up, heard the maid's voice outside his door. Duan Lingtian saw a maid standing outside the door handing him a spatial ring as soon as he opened the door. She said, "Elder Duan, the clan leader asked me to pass this to you. The clan leader is here?" Upon hearing the maid's words, Duan Lingtian, who took the spatial ring, was a little surprised. Yes. The maid nodded. The clan leader came early in the morning. He left after leaving this spatial ring because he didn't want to disturb your rest, Elder Duan. Duan Lingtian nodded and turned the spatial ring in his hand for a while before returning to his room. After closing the door behind him, he pricked his finger and dripped his blood on the spatial ring to establish ownership. It seems like the clan leader is in a hurry. Duan Lingtian shook his head and smiled before he even had the time to check what was in the spatial ring. He could already guess why the clan leader of Lu clan was looking for him. Just as he had guessed, there were many herbs and a list in the spatial ring. There were a few grade 1 pills that he was asked to refine. However, the number of medicinal pills requested caused Duan Lingtian to be slightly speechless. Is he looking down on me? Duan Lingtian could not help but smile wryly as he looked at the herbs that were piled up like a mountain in the spatial ring, and the number of grade 1 pills on the list. According to the number of grade 1 pills required on the list, he would only need a 30% success rate to refine the pills using the mountain of medicinal herbs in his storage ring. I'll only need 30% of the medicinal herbs at most to refine the number of grade 1 pills stated on the list. Oh well, since the clan leader wants to give me the medicinal herbs, I can only accept it. After muttering to himself, a bright smile appeared on Duan Lingtian's face. If the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, was here, he would definitely be speechless when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. In fact, in Lu Rui's opinion, looking at the number of several types of grade 1 pills on the list, the pile of medicinal herbs he had prepared in his spatial ring was undoubtedly very tight. If it was just an ordinary grade 1 alchemist, it would be difficult for them to refine the number of grade 1 pills stated on the list even if they consumed all the herbs. This was because the success rate of a grade 1 alchemist was usually between 20% and 30%. It was rare for them to exceed 30%. Even the guild leader of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land only had a success rate of 25% when refining grade 1 pills. In the Lu clan's 10,000 years of history, the only person who could refine grade 1 pills with a success rate of more than 30% was the ancestor who founded the Lu clan. Among the dozens of grade 1 alchemists in the later generations, the highest success rate when refining grade 1 pills was only 28%. The mission he gave Duan Lingtian required a success rate of 30% to be fulfilled. Naturally, he was not trying to make things difficult for Duan Lingtian. Even if Duan Lingtian had used up all the medicinal materials in the spatial ring, and still could not refine the number of grade 1 pills required on the list, he would not be dissatisfied at all. The reason he did this was because he wanted to test Duan Lingtian's medicine refining skills. After all, before this, he only knew Duan Lingtian could condense a grade 1 pill fire, was a grade 1 alchemist, and was knowledgeable in medicine refining. He knew nothing about Duan Lingtian's medicine refining skills. Fortunately, Duan Lingtian did not know what Lu Rui was thinking. Otherwise, he would have scoffed at him. Lu Rui wanted to test his success rate of refining grade 1 pills to see if it was 30%. He was looking down on Lu Rui. After all, Lu Rui, who had merged with the reincarnation Emperor Wu's medicine refining skills and experience, was no different from the reincarnation Emperor Wu when he refined pills. As long as he did not get distracted, his success rate would be 100%. 100% was equivalent to 100%. These medicinal herbs are all used to refine grade 1 pills. They're extremely valuable. However, 70% of them will belong to me after today. Before Duan Lingtian began to refine the few types of pills, he glanced at the mountain of medicinal herbs in his spatial ring. The smile on his face grew wider. After a while, he calmed down and began to refine the few grade 1 pills that Lu Rui requested on the list. The grade 1 life recovery pill was on the list. As for the other types, they were grade 1 pills that were as difficult to refine as the grade 1 life recovery pill. However, they were not as widely used as the grade 1 life recovery pill. It made sense when one thought about it. The grade 1 life recovery pill was a healing pill. It would be useful as long as someone was injured. As for the other types of pills, they were not as widely used. How much should I control the purity? Duan Lingtian, who took out his cauldron and was about to refine the few grade 1 pills on the list, suddenly thought of this problem. He was slightly troubled. With his medicine refining skills, it was undoubtedly a piece of cake for him to refine grade 1 pills with a purity of 90% and above. If I refine grade 1 pills with a purity of 90% and above, will it scare the clan leader? Duan Lingtian had no choice but to think about this problem. Forget it. I'll just suppress my strength a little and refine pills with a purity of 90% and above. Soon after, Duan Lingtian made up his mind. He only made this decision after taking into account that the Lu clan had helped him a lot. Naturally, the main reason was that he wanted to keep a low profile. Otherwise, it would not be difficult for him to refine grade 1 pills with a purity of 95% and above. In Duan Lingtian's opinion, the few types of pills on the list were very basic and ordinary grade 1 pills. As long as he was willing, he could refine them into pills with a purity of 95% and above. I'm afraid pills with a purity of 90% and above are enough to scare the clan leader. If I refine pills with a purity of 95% and above, it'll be bad if the clan leader gets a heart attack. Apart from keeping a low profile, Duan Lingtian was also thinking for the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. He decided not to refine the few grade 1 pills on the list with a purity of 95% and above. A purity of 90% and above would be good enough. After pondering for a long time, Duan Lingtian finally made up his mind to refine the few grade 1 pills on the list. The spacious central hall of the Lu clan's mansion was filled with people. The person sitting in the main seat was none other than Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan. Two old men, one fat and one skinny, sat below Lu Rui. Apart from being fat and skinny, the difference in height was huge as well. The fat one was short like a ball. The skinny one was tall like a bamboo pole. They were two of the Lu clan's 3 guardian elders, Lu Yuan and Lu Gui. Both of them were martial monarch powerhouses. A group of Lu clan's elders, including Lu So, stood below Lu Yuan and Lu Gui. These Lu clan's elders had one thing in common. They were all elders who focused on the medicine refinement Tao. Apart from a few grade 2 alchemists, most of these elders were grade 3 alchemists. There was not a single grade 4 alchemist among them. In the Lu clan, one had to fulfill at least one of the 2 conditions to become an elder. 2 conditions. First, one had to be a non-alchemist who focused on the martial Tao and whose cultivation base was at the 9th level void transformation stage or above. Second, one had to be a grade 3 alchemist or above. Therefore, unless one's cultivation base was at the 9th level void transformation stage or above, one would not be qualified to become an elder in the Lu clan. Currently, Lu Yuan and Lu Gui were the only ones who were not alchemists among the people present. According to them, today was the day. They were just here to join in the fun. Clan leader, which pills did you ask Elder Duan to refine? Lu Yuan narrowed his small eyes and asked Lu Rui. The moment Lu Yuan's words left his mouth, all the Lu clan's elders present on the scene narrowed their eyes and looked at Lu Rui in unison. They were curious about this as well. Lu Rui smiled faintly and told them the few grade 1 pills that he had asked Duan Lingtian to refine on the list. Initially, everyone felt that something was amiss. However, after Lu Rui told them the number of grade 1 pills he had listed on the list and the number of medicinal herbs he had stored in Duan Lingtian's spatial ring, they all felt that something was amiss. Clan leader, if Elder Duan wants to refine the number of grade 1 pills you've listed on the list with the medicinal herbs you've prepared, he'll need at least a 30% success rate, right? Lu So asked after inhaling sharply. 30% success rate? In the history of our Lu clan, it seems like only the old ancestor who founded our Lu clan can achieve that. Clan leader, you're making things difficult for Elder Duan. Elder Duan won't be displeased and leave the Lu clan in a fit of anger, right? The group of Lu clan's elders discussed among themselves. Most of them had a worried expression on their faces. They were worried that Duan Lingtian would fly into a rage and leave the Lu clan in a fit of anger, because Lu Rui deliberately made things difficult for him. At that time, the Lu clan would be the one to suffer a loss. Clan leader, although I'm not an alchemist, I've been in the clan for many years. After being influenced by what I've seen and heard, I know that there are very few grade 1 alchemists who can refine grade 1 pills with a 30% success rate. Lu Gui said with a frown. Clan leader, if Elder Duan is really angry and leaves the Lu clan, it'll be a great loss for us. Why don't I send some medicinal herbs over? Lu Yuan said. Elders, don't worry. I only did that to test Elder Duan's ability. I didn't mean to make things difficult for him. Faced with the group of Lu clan's elders' worries, Lu Rui smiled disapprovingly. Moreover, based on my interactions with Elder Duan, he's definitely not that petty. Clan leader. Before Lu Rui could finish his words, he was interrupted by a loud voice that resonated from outside. Elder Duan asked me to pass you the medicinal pills that you asked him to refine. Then the voice continued to resonate. Chapter 1083. What? The smile on Lu Rui's face froze when he heard the words from outside. Shock and disbelief could be seen in his eyes. Crack. A soft sound resonated in the air. Lu Rui had unconsciously tightened his grip on the armrest of the chair and broke it. However, he did not seem to notice it at all. His expression was blank. Gulp. Lu Yuan and Lu Gui, who were sitting next to Lu Rui, gulped almost at the same time before they turned to look at Lu Rui in unison. Clan leader. Didn't you say you only sent the medicinal herbs and the list over early this morning to ask Elder Duan to refine the pills? Lu Yuan asked in a daze. That's right. How could Elder Duan have finished refining the pills in just one morning? Lu Gui chimed in. As for the remaining Lu clan's elders, they looked at Lu Rui in confusion after they regained their senses. They wanted to know what was going on. I've no idea as well. Lu Rui shook his head with a frown in the face of the Lu clan's elders' questioning gaze. After a moment of silence, Lu Rui seemed to have thought of something. His furrowed brows relaxed as he muttered, perhaps Elder Duan already has a portion of the pills on the list that I gave him. That's why he asked someone to pass that portion of the pills to me first. Although Lu Rui's voice was not loud, it still entered the ears of the Lu clan's elders who were present. That must be it. That's the only possibility. The few grade 1 pills on the list that the clan leader gave Elder Duan would take at least 10 days to half a month to refine them. Elder Duan is a grade 1 alchemist, he must have a lot of grade 1 life recovery pills with him. Perhaps, he asked someone to send the grade 1 life recovery pills he had on hand to the clan leader first. The Lu clan's elders discussed among themselves as they voiced their opinions. Come in. At this moment, Lu Rui called the Lu clan's disciple who had sent the pills in from outside the main hall. Clan leader. After the Lu clan's disciple entered, he handed the spatial ring in his hand to Lu Rui respectfully before he turned around and left. After the Lu clan's disciple left, everyone's eyes shifted to Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan. To be more precise, it landed on the spatial ring in Lu Rui's hand. Elder Duan is an erudite and knowledgeable grade 1 alchemist. I wonder what the purity of the grade 1 pills he refined is like. He should be stronger than the Alchemist Guild's Guildmaster Chang from the southern outer continent. That might not necessarily be the case. You should know that the grade 1 pills refined by Guild leader Chang can occasionally achieve a purity of 70% and above. The group of Lu clan's elders began to whisper again, but their eyes never left the spatial ring in Lu Rui's hand. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Lu Rui pricked his finger and dripped a drop of blood onto the ring to establish ownership. In the next moment, with a thought, he looked into the space inside his storage ring. When he saw the neatly arranged and densely packed pill bottles in the storage ring, his pupils suddenly shrank. Why are there so many pill bottles? Could it be that Elder Duan has a habit of storing one pill in one pill bottle? On the Cloud Continent, there were some alchemists with strange temperaments who liked to use a medicinal pill bottle to store one medicinal pill. He had heard of it before. What a waste. Although Lu Rui felt that it was a waste to store one medicinal pill in a medicinal pill bottle, he still took out one of the medicinal pill bottles and opened the cork to look inside. He was mentally prepared and thought that there was only one medicinal pill in the medicinal pill bottle. When he saw what was inside the medicinal pill bottle, his pupils shrank again. 10 Grade 1 Life Recovery Pills? Lu Rui noticed that there were 10 medicinal pills in the medicinal pill bottle. A rich medicinal fragrance wafted out and assailed his nostrils. It made him feel relaxed and happy. If it was any other time, he would definitely be able to notice the difference in the Grade 1 Life Recovery pills in the medicinal pill bottle from the rich medicinal fragrance. However, his mind was not on that at that moment. The other medicinal pill bottles. He hurriedly closed the medicinal pill bottle in his hand and looked at the other medicinal pill bottles. In the end, he noticed that there were 10 medicinal pills in each medicinal pill bottle. Most importantly, these medicinal pills were the medicinal pills that were marked on the list that he gave to Duan Lingtian. The types and quantity of the Grade 1 medicinal pills were exactly the same as what he stated on the list. Lu Rui was dumbstruck after he confirmed this. Lu Yuan and Lu Gui, who were sitting below him, were puzzled. The group of Lu clan's elders who were standing in the main hall were curious why the clan leader would lose his composure. Clan leader, is there something wrong? Lu Yuan and Lu Gui asked in unison. Lu Rui finally regained his senses when he heard Lu Yuan and Lu Gui's words. He took a deep breath and looked at the crowd again, causing them to exchange glances with him. The few Grade 1 medicinal pills that I stated on the list this morning, Elder Duan has completed all of them. No matter if it's the type or quantity, it's exactly the same. Lu Rui said solemnly with a complicated gaze as he looked at the group of Lu clan's elders. Boom! The moment Lu Rui's words left his mouth, it was as though a bolt of lightning had struck. All of the Lu clan's elders, including the 2 Lu clan's guardian elders, were stunned. Elder Duan had completed all of the medicinal pills that the clan leader stated on the list? No matter if it's the type or quantity, it's exactly the same? The group of Lu clan's elders could not regain their senses for a long time. When they finally regained their senses, they began to discuss among themselves. The entire Lu clan's main hall was in an uproar as though it had turned into a wet market. Elder Duan has refined all of the medicinal pills that the clan leader requested? That's impossible. How could he refine so many medicinal pills in just one morning? I think he already has those medicinal pills and the quantity is sufficient. That's why he asked someone to send them over. The group of Lu clan's elders discussed among themselves. The last person's speculation changed the topic. Other than this, I can't think of any other possibility. Even if Guildmaster Chong of our Southern Outer Lands Alchemist Guild's main guild were to personally refine those pills, I'm afraid he'd need 10 days to half a month to refine all of them without any rest. He refined all of them in just one morning? That's impossible. The Lu clan's elders soon came to a conclusion. The Grade 1 medicinal pills that the clan leader requested Elder Duan to refine happened to be in Elder Duan's possession. Not only that, but he also had enough of them, so he simply asked someone to send them over. If Elder Duan refined the medicinal herbs that the clan leader gave him, he might not be able to refine enough medicinal pills. One of the Lu clan's elders said. The others agreed with his words. After all, it required a 30% success rate. Wait a minute. However, at this moment, a horrified voice resonated in the air and drowned out the voices of the group of Lu clan's elders. At once, the group of Lu clan's elders turned to look at the source of the voice. The person who spoke was none other than the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. Under the watchful eyes of the others, Lu Rui's hands moved as fast as lightning. Subsequently, medicinal pill bottles appeared in his hands one by one. He opened the stoppers on the medicinal pill bottles one by one, and the medicinal pills appeared in his hands one by one. At the same time, a rich medicinal fragrance filled the entire Lu clan's main hall, causing the group of Lu clan's elders to feel refreshed. Some of them even took a deep breath and closed their eyes in comfort, enjoying the medicinal fragrance that assailed their nostrils. Soon after, some of the Lu clan's elders regained their senses. Shock was written all over their faces. Such a medicinal fragrance. It can only be emitted by medicinal pills that have just been refined and left the cauldron less than a day ago. One of the Lu clan's elders could not help but exclaim in a low voice. He was one of the few grade 2 alchemists in the Lu clan, so he was very familiar with some of the characteristics of medicinal pills. The medicinal fragrance of a medicinal pill that had just been refined for less than a day, and a medicinal pill that had been refined for more than a day would be completely different. This was something that nothing, including the pill bottles and storage rings, could affect. All of the medicinal pills have this medicinal fragrance, Lu Rui said solemnly. Lu Rui said with a solemn face. His expression was still a little stiff, and he had not completely recovered from the shock. How's this possible? These medicinal pills are all medicinal pills that have been refined for less than a day? The medicinal fragrance won't lie. Soon after, the entire Lu clan's main hall was in an uproar. Each of the Lu clan's elders was dumbfounded. They could not believe all of this was real. In their opinion, this was something that was almost impossible to happen. In other words, all of these medicinal pills were refined by Elder Duan in just a day? Lu Yuan swallowed a mouthful of saliva and looked at Lu Rui with a stunned expression as he asked, "Although I can't believe all of this is real, the truth is right in front of my eyes. I have no choice but to believe it. Elder Duan is no ordinary grade 1 alchemist," Lu Rui said slowly as he regained his senses. He inhaled sharply and enunciated each and every word slowly. Lu Rui's words fell into the ears of the stunned Lu clan's elders. They could not agree more. Then, not only is Elder Duan's refining speed heaven-defying, but his success rate is also more than 30%. That seems to be the case. Monster. The group of Lu clan's elders was in an uproar again. It was one thing for his refining speed to be fast, but his success rate was so high as well. How could they live with this? Most importantly, Elder Duan is only a young man in his 20s. I originally thought that since I was able to become a grade 2 alchemist, my innate talent in medicine refinement was already quite good. However, compared to Elder Duan, all these years of my life have been in vain. One of the Lu clan's elders sighed. He was also one of the few grade 2 alchemists in the Lu clan. His words made the other Lu clan's elders lower their heads in shame. They felt so ashamed that they wanted to crawl into a hole. How's this possible? Soon after, another exclamation resonated in the air, alarming all of the Lu clan's elders. They could tell it was the clan leader's voice again. For a moment before they even looked up at Lu Rui, their hearts skipped a beat. Chapter 1084. Boom! When the group of Lu clan's elders turned to look at the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui in unison, a loud noise resonated in the air. It shocked them so much that their hearts skipped a beat. Lu Rui lost his composure and rose from his seat. His seat shattered and fell to the ground with a loud crash. What the hell is going on? The clan leader lost his composure. It must be something extraordinary for the clan leader to lose his composure like that. We have to be mentally prepared. I think so too. The group of Lu clan's elders whispered among themselves. However, their eyes never left Lu Rui. At the same time, they tried their best to remain alert and mentally prepared themselves to be shocked. Lu Rui stood at the head of the main hall. He was holding a pill that was shining faintly in his hand. He had already put away the other pills. At this moment, Lu Rui's eyes were glued to the pill in his hand. It was as though he was possessed. Is there something wrong with that pill? Many of the Lu clan's elders were confused. Subsequently, all of the Lu clan's elders shifted their attention to the pill in Lu Rui's hand. The pill was shining faintly and emitted a pleasant medicinal fragrance. A grade 1 life recovery pill. With just a glance, they recognized this medicinal pill. How's that possible? Soon after, one of the elderly Lu clan's elders narrowed his eyes. His face was filled with shock as though he had seen something unbelievable. This Lu clan's elder was one of the few grade 2 alchemists in Lu clan. He was the old man who mocked himself for living half his life like a dog. The purity of this grade 1 life recovery pill must be above 85%, right? Another Lu clan's elder, who was also one of the Lu clan's grade 2 alchemists, muttered to himself with a shocked expression on his face, "No, it's not just 85%. The purity of this grade 1 life recovery pill must be above 90%. Apart from the two old men and the clan leader of Lu clan, the last Lu clan's grade 2 alchemist elder spoke as well. His expression was extremely solemn. 90%. A grade 1 life recovery pill with a purity of above 90%? As soon as the Lu clan's elder spoke, the entire Lu clan's main hall fell into a dead silence. Each of the Lu clan's elders was stunned. Apart from Lu Yuan and Lu Gui, the two guardian elders who majored in the martial Dao, the other Lu clan's elders were all grade 3 alchemists. Although they could tell the purity of the pill in the clan leader's hand was very high, they did not dare to determine how high it was. After all, it was a grade 1 medicinal pill. Now, when they heard the words of the second grade alchemist elder, they were shocked. "Elders, please take a look." At this moment, Lu Rui, who was standing at the head of the table, came back to his senses. He raised his hand and threw the grade 1 life recovery pill to one of the grade 2 alchemists. Immediately, the other two grade 2 alchemists surrounded him. The purity is about 91%. After a few moments, the three grade 2 alchemist elders confirmed the purity of the grade 1 life recovery pill in their hands. 91%. The remaining group of grade 3 alchemists and elders all sucked in a breath of cold air. Their faces and eyes were filled with disbelief. "I can't believe that not only is Elder Duan's refining speed fast and his success rate high, but the purity of the pills he refined is also so terrifying," Lu Yuan said with a shocked expression. "Is Elder Duan really human?" Lu Gui's eyes narrowed as he muttered to himself, "If he's not human, could he be a demon? It's almost impossible for a demon to become an alchemist, let alone such a monstrous grade 1 alchemist." Lu Yuan said, "Clan leader, how's the purity of the other pills?" The three grade 2 alchemist elders looked at Lu Rui in unison with a burning gaze. "Take a look for yourselves." Lu Rui took a deep breath and raised his hand. He threw 3 pill bottles at the 3 grade 2 alchemist elders. After the 3 grade 2 alchemist elders caught the pill bottles, they opened them eagerly and poured out the pills one by one. Their eyes were fixed on the pills that were poured out one by one. The purity of these pills seems to be very high as well. Yeah, it doesn't feel any lower than the grade 1 life recovery pill. The group of grade 3 alchemist elders around them whispered among themselves, "These medicinal pills all have a purity of 91%. How's this possible?" Soon after, one of the grade 2 alchemist elders finished inspecting the 10 grade 1 pills in his hand and said in disbelief, "All of them are 91%? The surrounding grade 3 alchemist elders were stunned. The purity of the 10 grade 1 pills in this pill bottle is 91% as well. Before the crowd could recover from their shock, another rank 2 medicine refinement elder spoke up. "Mine is the same as well." The last grade 2 alchemist elder chimed in. Whoosh! As soon as the 3 grade 2 alchemist elders finished speaking, an uproar broke out. It was like a stone that caused 1,000 ripples. How's this possible? At this moment, even Lu Yuan and Lu Gui who were laymen could not help but turn pale with fright. Isn't it difficult for an alchemist to control the purity of pills when refining pills? That's right. One of the grade 2 alchemist elders nodded. We alchemists will more or less encounter some unexpected situations when refining pills. Therefore, it's very difficult to accurately refine pills with a fixed purity. Usually, we can only control it within a certain range. Another grade 2 alchemist elder added. To be able to fix the purity of the medicinal pills at 91%. That Elder Duan is simply a monster among monsters. The last grade 2 alchemist elder placed the 10 pills in his hand back into the pill bottle and continued. According to our Lu clan's ancestral handbook, even the old ancestor who established our Lu clan only refined grade 1 pills with a purity of 82% at its peak. It's fine if it's high purity. The problem is that he can fix the purity of all the grade 1 pills at 91%. It's unbelievable. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe that anyone can do this. Lu Rui took a deep breath and said in a deep voice. At this moment, even he, the clan leader of the Lu clan who was known as an alchemist clan, could not maintain his composure and completely lost his composure. This was because what he had encountered was just too shocking. I'm afraid it's hard to find another grade 1 alchemist who's as terrifying as Elder Duan in the entire Cloud Continent. The other grade 1 alchemists, including the guild master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land, are nothing compared to him. Lu Rui's breathing quickened, and his face was filled with excitement. I thought Elder Duan was just an ordinary grade 1 alchemist. I can't believe he's such a terrifying grade 1 alchemist. Lu Yuan exclaimed in shock. At this moment, he also realized how terrifying the young grade 1 alchemist was from the words of the alchemists present on the scene. Our Lu clan has Elder Duan, so why should we worry about our prosperity? Lu Gui's eyes lit up. Perhaps it's time for me to talk to our honorable Elder Duan. Lu Rui gradually calmed down and muttered to himself. In the backyard of a spacious mansion on the eastern side of the Lu clan's mansion. Boom! A flame soared into the sky from the backyard, and its momentum was vast. The flame came from a red-clad lady who was hovering in the air. As the flame on the lady's body soared, her red dress fluttered as well, making her look like a fire elf. Whoosh! As the flame on the lady's body soared, the heaven and earth energy stirred above her head and gradually formed the heaven and earth phenomenon. Ancient horned dragon silhouettes gradually appeared. In just a blink of an eye, the number of ancient horned dragon silhouettes increased to thousands. However, it was very unstable. Sometimes it would increase to 800 to 900 silhouettes as though it was being restricted by something. Is it still not working? A purple-clad young man stood at the side and asked solemnly as he stared at the red-clad lady intently. The woman with a peerlessly beautiful face nodded her head without saying anything. If one looked closely, one would notice that beads of sweat were continuously forming on her forehead. More and more beads of sweat formed and eventually dripped down her beautiful face. Drip, drip. Droplets of sweat fell on the ground and bloomed into water droplets. It was a beautiful scene. Take a rest. The purple-clad young man was Duan Lingtian. He said to the red-clad lady who was hovering in the air. The red-clad lady was Feng Tianwu. To be more precise, she was Feng Tianwu who had lost her memory. However, Feng Tianwu did not take a rest as Duan Lingtian had said. She allowed her fragrant sweat to drip down as she stubbornly continued to raise the flame that rose around her body. Boom! The flame soared into the sky as the heaven and earth phenomenon above her head rose to thousands of ancient horned dragon silhouettes. However, the number of ancient horned dragon silhouettes fell back to 800 to 900 silhouettes. Sigh. Upon seeing this, Duan Lingtian could not help but sigh. I can't believe that Tianwu can't even control her origin energy and profundity after losing her memory. To the current her, the power she mastered before is very unfamiliar. I'm afraid she'll need some time to fully master her power now. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Currently, Feng Tianwu was no longer the fire spirit body. In other words, she was the former fire spirit body that had undergone nirvana rebirth. Previously, when the fire spirit body's power erupted in her body, it almost caused her to explode. At the critical moment, Duan Lingtian, who had been devilified by the Devil Seal tablet, injected a mysterious black energy into her body to suppress the fire spirit body's power in her body. After the fire spirit body's power was suppressed, it completely dissipated and merged into her body for her use. Chapter 1085. First Level Void Transformation Stage. That was Feng Tianwu's current cultivation base. Back then, after the fire spirit body's energy had merged with her origin energy, it helped her to elevate her origin energy all the way to the first level void transformation stage. Apart from the first level void transformation stage origin energy, the concept fragment in Feng Tianwu's body had also completely transformed into a profundity fragment. Currently, she was a first-level void transformation stage martial artist who had mastered the fire profundity. Unfortunately, since she had lost her memory, she still could not fully control her strength. Of course, it was fortunate that it was so. Otherwise, the speed of her sword stabbing toward Duan Lingtian when she had just woken up from her deep slumber would have been many times faster. If that was the case, Let alone Duan Lingtian, who could not react in time. Even she might not be able to withdraw her sword in time to avoid Duan Lingtian's heart, which was his vital point. It could be said that it was fortunate that Feng Tianwu could not control her strength after she had lost her memory. Otherwise, Duan Lingtian would definitely die. Whoosh! 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 Other than Feng Tianwu, who was adapting to her strength, a series of ear-piercing sword-whistling sound resonated from nearby. It was Xiong Quan who was practicing his sword. Perhaps it's time to look for the clan leader. The spirit fruit and the profound assimilation formation are the things that Xiong Quan and I desperately need right now. Duan Lingtian glanced at Xiong Quan and muttered to himself, "Elder Duan." At this moment, a voice that sounded like an oriole's resonated from afar. "Xiao Yun." Duan Lingtian was puzzled when he saw servant Xiao Yun, who had rushed into the backyard in a panic. "What's the matter? Why are you in such a panic?" "Elder Duan, the clan leader is here. He's waiting for you in the main hall." Servant Xiao Yun said respectfully. "Clan leader?" Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up and he smiled. "Speak of the devil. Who's the devil?" Servant Xiao Yun was stunned when she heard Duan Lingtian's words. Duan Lingtian was stunned. Only then did he remember that there was no Cao Cao in this world. Duan Lingtian had a flash of inspiration in his mind. He really didn't know how to explain it, so he just randomly made up a story. Cao Cao is the name of the family head in our hometown. Cao Cao is the head of the clan. You can call it that? The maid Xiao Yun was a little surprised. She then said, "Elder Duan, you should hurry over. It's not good to let Cao Cao wait for too long." When Duan Lingtian heard this, the corners of his mouth twitched imperceptibly. This girl's learning ability was really strong. He applied what he had just learned. There was a large hall in the middle of the mansion that Duan Lingtian resided in. However, Duan Lingtian had never been to this place before, because he had almost never had any guests here. Patriarch. Arriving outside the main hall, Duan Lingtian saw a familiar figure standing inside. It was the head of the Lu clan, Lu Rui. "Elder Duan." Lu Rui's eyes lit up. He took a step forward and personally welcomed Duan Lingtian into the main hall. "What's the matter, Patriarch?" Although Duan Lingtian guessed that Lu Rui must have come for the grade 1 pills that he had asked someone to send to him in the afternoon, he still pretended to be ignorant and asked, "Elder Duan, I really didn't expect your medicine refinement level to be so high. It's already at the level of being heaven-defying." Lu Rui looked at Duan Lingtian with a complicated expression on his face. Not only was this frighteningly young grade 1 alchemist in front of him had a shocking refining speed, but his success rate was also so high. Not only was his success rate high, but his purity was also ridiculously high. It was actually at the heaven-defying 90% purity. In his memory, this was what he knew. In the history of the Cloud Continent, it seemed like there was only one person who could refine pills with a purity of 90% and above. That person was a person from 10,000 years ago. The reason he knew there was such a person 10,000 years ago was because of the old ancestor who established the Lu clan. The Lu clan's old ancestor had left behind a handwritten letter that had been passed down until now. Only the clan leader of Lu clan could read the handwritten letter. Nobody else was qualified to read it. According to the handwritten letter, their old ancestor had received help and guidance from that person before he became an outstanding grade 1 alchemist. According to the old ancestor, the powerhouse whom he regarded as his teacher had a level of attainment in the medicine refinement Dao that far surpassed a grade 1 alchemist. Lu Rui could not imagine what kind of person that person was. According to the handwritten letter left behind by the old ancestor, that person seemed to be an Emperor Wu powerhouse. Not only that, but he was also an Emperor Wu powerhouse who stood at the peak of the Cloud Continent. People called him Reincarnation Emperor Wu. Lu Rui's heart skipped a beat when he thought of this. The old ancestor said in the handwritten letter that reincarnation was the title of that Emperor Wu powerhouse. The reason why that martial emperor expert was given the title of reincarnation was because he had cultivated a heaven-defying cultivation method. Unlike ordinary people who can only live for one lifetime, that rebirth martial emperor through that cultivation technique can live for 3 lifetimes. When the old ancestor met him, he was going through his second life. Lu Rui seemed to have recalled something when he thought of this. He snapped back to reality and stared at the purple-clad young man standing in front of him with his eyes wide open. His body had begun to tremble uncontrollably. It was a tremor of excitement. According to the old ancestor's handwritten letter, that reincarnation Emperor Wu has to wait for 10,000 years every time he reincarnates. Judging by the time, it's about time that reincarnation Emperor Wu reincarnates for the third time. Lu Rui's breathing quickened unknowingly as he stared at the purple-clad young man in front of him. Don't tell me. He's the third reincarnation of reincarnation Emperor Wu? If that's the case, then his monstrous talent makes sense. The reincarnation Emperor Wu himself is a powerful alchemist. Since he reincarnated, he was born with all kinds of powerful alchemy techniques and rich experience in alchemy. Lu Rui was excited when he thought of this. Emperor Wu powerhouse. The young man standing in front of him might be the reincarnation of an Emperor Wu powerhouse. He was destined to become an Emperor Wu powerhouse in the future. In other words, the young man standing in front of him might be an Emperor Wu powerhouse in the future. Clan leader, are you alright? Duan Lingtian asked with a frown when he saw Lu Rui staring at him with gleaming eyes. Elder Duan. After Lu Rui was awakened by Duan Lingtian, he took a deep breath to suppress the excitement in his heart. He stared into Duan Lingtian's eyes and asked, do you know the reincarnation Emperor Wu? The reincarnation Emperor Wu. Lu Rui's words were like a bolt of lightning. It shocked Duan Lingtian so much that his heart skipped a beat. The reincarnation Emperor Wu? How does he know about the reincarnation Emperor Wu? Why would he mention the reincarnation Emperor Wu in front of me? At this moment, while Duan Lingtian's heart was filled with shock, questions began to surface in his mind as well. However, he did not show it on his face. Who knew if this Lu Rui standing in front of him was the descendant of the reincarnation Emperor Wu's enemy? The Lu clan has been around for 10,000 years. This means the Lu clan's old ancestor who founded the Lu clan was from 10,000 years ago. Who knows, he might really have something to do with the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Moreover, he must have left behind some notes. Otherwise, the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, would not have known about the existence of the rebirth martial emperor 10,000 years later. In just a blink of an eye, Duan Lingtian had a lot of thoughts in his mind. It was precisely because he was thinking too much that he didn't reveal his strange emotions on the surface. 10,000 years ago, the reincarnation Emperor Wu was a top powerhouse who stood at the peak of the Cloud Continent. It could be said that his name shocked the entire inner and outer continents of the Cloud Continent. In that era, even a 3-year-old child would be scared to tears upon hearing the words rebirth martial emperor. Based on this, one could see how famous the reincarnation Emperor Wu was during that era. The reincarnation Emperor Wu? The powerhouse Emperor Wu? Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow and pretended to be confused. I've never heard of him before. Although Duan Lingtian did not reveal any flaws on the surface, Lu Rui, as the clan leader of the Lu clan, was not someone to be trifled with. He did not believe Duan Lingtian just because of this. Lu Zheng. Lu Rui continued to stare into Duan Lingtian's eyes as he slowly spat out the 2 words. It was as though he wanted to confirm if Duan Lingtian was the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Lu Zheng was the old ancestor who founded the Lu clan 10,000 years ago. He was also an outstanding grade 1 alchemist. He believed if this young man was the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu, he would definitely know about the old ancestor of the Lu clan. Lu Zheng? Upon hearing Lu Rui's words, Duan Lingtian was stunned. He had never heard of this name before. When Lu Rui saw the confusion in Duan Lingtian's eyes, he was slightly disappointed. It seems like I've guessed wrongly. Elder Duan shouldn't be the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Lu Zheng. Duan Lingtian's heart skipped a beat. He instinctively searched through the reincarnation Emperor Wu's memories of his 2 lifetimes. In the end, he really found memories related to this name. During the reincarnation Emperor Wu's 2nd lifetime, he liked to wander outside. He had helped and guided many people based on his own interests. Among the few people who left a deep impression on him, one of them was called Lu Zheng. In the reincarnation Emperor Wu's memories, Lu Zheng was quite talented in the medicine refinement Dao. For this reason, He had specially guided him for a period of time. It could be said that they were master and disciple for a period of time. Although the reincarnation Emperor Wu did not officially accept Lu Zheng as his disciple, Lu Zheng still addressed the reincarnation Emperor Wu as his teacher. 10,000 years ago, the reincarnation Emperor Wu cultivated the three lives reincarnation technique and the cultivation method of the three lives reincarnation technique. Lu Zheng was one of them. When he thought of this, Duan Lingtian could guess many things, including why Lu Rui suddenly asked him if he knew about the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Lu Rui was undoubtedly guessing that he was the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. It seems like the person who founded the Lu clan that has a legacy of 10,000 years is Lu Zheng. Also, Lu Zheng left behind some notes and handwritten notes about the reincarnation Emperor Wu in the Lu clan. Chapter 1086. Otherwise, it's impossible for Lu Rui to know about the existence of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. He wouldn't have guessed that I might be the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Whoosh! Suddenly, the sound of wind whistling entered his ears. Duan Lingtian could not help but raise his head to look. He saw a drop of blood shooting up into the sky, passing through the main hall and disappearing before his eyes in just a blink of an eye. At the same time, a voice entered his ears. I, Lu Rui, swear on my own blood that if I do anything that's detrimental to the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu, I'll be struck to death by the 99 heavenly tribulation. It was Lu Rui who swore on the 99 heavenly tribulation. Boom! 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 9 claps of thunder resonated in response to Lu Rui's oath. Clan leader, what are you doing? Duan Lingtian was stunned. Could it be that Lu Rui had confirmed that he was the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu? That was not right. He had been very careful from the beginning until the end. He was sure he did not reveal any flaws. It's nothing. I just wanted to prove something. However, I don't think you're the person I thought you were. Lu Rui shook his head in response to Duan Lingtian's question. The reason he made such an oath was because he still had hope in his heart. He wanted to verify if Duan Lingtian was the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Even if he was not, he had already done what he had to do. He would not have any regrets. How do you know I'm not? However, Duan Lingtian asked as soon as Lu Rui finished speaking. Huh. Lu Rui was stunned at first. Then his eyes lit up, and his breathing quickened again. Elder Duan, what you mean? You're really the reincarnation Emperor Wu? You can say that. Duan Lingtian nodded indifferently. As long as I, who reincarnated through the three lives rebirth technique, cultivate to the Emperor Wu realm again and ascend to the peak of Cloud Continent, then I'll have the qualifications to be called the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Three lives reincarnation technique. When Lu Rui heard Duan Lingtian mention the three lives reincarnation technique, he no longer doubted Duan Lingtian's identity. He was sure that Duan Lingtian was the reincarnation of Emperor Wu's third life. After 10,000 years, the number of people on Cloud Continent who knew about reincarnation Emperor Wu was as few as phoenix feathers and Qilin horns. Not to mention the person who could tell the cultivation method of Samsara Emperor Wu. If he hadn't read the letter left behind by the ancestor of the Lu clan, he wouldn't have known about the reincarnation Emperor Wu, let alone the cultivation method that the reincarnation Emperor Wu practiced. He also wouldn't have known that the cultivation method required 3 reincarnations to master. Lu Rui greets Senior. I hope Senior can forgive my rudeness for not knowing Senior's identity. Lu Rui tried his best to suppress the excitement in his heart and bowed at Duan Lingtian. Just call me Elder Duan like you used to. Duan Lingtian said indifferently. Yes. After finding out that Duan Lingtian was the third reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor, Lu Rui obeyed Duan Lingtian's every word. He did not dare to hesitate or slack at all. This was because he knew this was a future Emperor Wu powerhouse. As long as he served this young man well, the Lu clan would be protected by an Emperor Wu powerhouse in the future. Perhaps he might even be able to obtain some other benefits. As the clan leader of Lu clan, he was far-sighted. Also, do many people in the Lu clan know about reincarnation Emperor Wu? Duan Lingtian asked. Not many. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's question, Lu Rui quickly replied, it's about your past. Elder Duan. Our Lu clan's old ancestor Lu Zheng has recorded everything in a handbook. Only the clan leader of Lu clan has the right to read it. All right. Duan Lingtian nodded and warned, it's enough for you to know my identity. Don't tell anyone else. Yes. Lu Rui replied respectfully. Also, I have something that I need your help with. Duan Lingtian remembered the matter that he wanted to talk to Lu Rui about earlier, so he went straight to the point. Please speak, Elder Duan. As long as it's something that the Lu clan and I can do, the Lu clan and I will not hesitate to go through water and tread on fire. Lu Rui said solemnly. Judging from his attitude, he would not even frown even if he was asked to climb a mountain of swords or dive into a sea of fire. You don't have to go through water and tread on fire. Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Rui and asked, your Lu clan should have a profound assimilation formation, right? Yes. Lu Rui nodded. That's good then. Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed as he said bluntly, I need you to activate the profound assimilation formation with a large amount of concept fragments. I need to elevate my concept through it. No problem. Lu Rui responded immediately without any hesitation. Concept fragments were nothing to a second-rate force like the Lu clan that was close to a first-rate force. They could get as many as they wanted. Moreover, as long as the Lu clan's disciples were talented in martial Dao and had a shocking comprehension ability, they would be able to elevate their concept through the profound assimilation formation. Also, I need some spirit fruits. As long as it's a spirit fruit that a void stage martial artist can consume, I want it. Duan Lingtian continued. Void stage? Lu Rui was stunned for a moment before he reminded him, Elder Duan, the void stage is divided into... I know that the void stage is divided into 4 levels. What I need are spirit fruits that can be consumed by void prying stage, void initiation stage, void interpretation stage, and void transformation stage martial artists. Duan Lingtian interrupted Lu Rui's words and said, I only need 1 spirit fruit for each of the void prying stage, void initiation stage, and void interpretation stage martial artists. As for the spirit fruits for void transformation stage martial artists, I want as many as you have. He wanted the spirit fruits for void prying stage, void initiation stage, and void interpretation stage martial artists to consume for Xiong Quan. He wanted the spirit fruits for void transformation stage martial artists to consume for himself and Feng Tianwu. Of course, Xiong Quan, who had elevated his cultivation base to the void transformation stage, would be able to use it soon as well. Xiong Quan had already comprehended the advanced sword concept. As long as he had enough spirit fruits, he would be able to break through to the void transformation stage in a short time and become a void transformation stage martial artist. Yes. Although Lu Rui did not know why Duan Lingtian wanted those low-grade spirit fruits, he still agreed to it. Put aside the fact that Duan Lingtian was the 3rd reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu, even if he was not, he would not reject Duan Lingtian's request with Duan Lingtian's medicine refining skills. Go and prepare. Also, don't forget about the soul-stabilizing herb. Duan Lingtian said again. Understood. Lu Rui replied respectfully and turned to leave. Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed as he looked at Lu Rui's departing figure. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. This identity of the 3rd reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu is quite useful. He knew that even if he did not pretend to be the 3rd reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu, Lu Rui would not reject his request. However, if that was the case, Lu Rui would definitely not be as attentive as he was now. Right now in Lu Rui's eyes, I'm the future Emperor Wu powerhouse. If he fawns over me, not only will his Lu clan be protected by me in the future, but he'll also be able to obtain many benefits. It was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to guess Lu Rui's thoughts. This was because he would think the same way if he were in Lu Rui's shoes. Who would not want to fawn over a powerhouse like the Emperor Wu? One had to admit that Lu Rui was very efficient. It only took him an hour before he came again. Elder Duan, these are the spirit fruits that our Lu clan currently has. They're mainly for the void prying stage, void initiation stage, and void interpretation stage martial artists. There's only one spirit fruit for the void transformation stage martial artists. Also, I plan to issue a bounty for the spirit fruits that void transformation stage martial artists consume, Lu Rui said respectfully to Duan Lingtian. At the same time, he handed over an ownerless spatial ring. A bounty? That's not bad. Duan Lingtian took the spatial ring and nodded. He then asked, what are you going to use as a bounty for the spirit fruits that void transformation stage martial artists consume? You must know that those spirit fruits are very valuable. The higher the grade of the spirit fruit, the more valuable it was. The spirit fruits consumed by the void transformation stage martial artists were even more valuable. I'm going to use the grade 1 life recovery pill that you refined as the bounty reward. With the purity of the grade 1 life recovery pill that you refined, the medicinal effect is so shocking that it's enough to make everyone kill for it. Lu Rui revealed his plan. However, I might need you to refine more grade 1 life recovery pills in the future. That's not a problem. Duan Lingtian was very optimistic about Lu Rui's plan. There was no doubt that a grade 1 life recovery pill was something that every martial artist needed. During a critical moment, it might become a life-saving talisman that could save a martial artist's life. Especially the grade 1 life recovery pill that he refined that had a purity of more than 90%. Its medicinal effect was a few times stronger than an ordinary grade 1 life recovery pill. Such a medicinal effect might not be as good as reviving a dead person or regrowing flesh and bones, but it was not too far off. Elder Duan, when do you plan to enter the profound assimilation formation? I've already prepared all the concept fragments that the profound assimilation formation needs. Lu Rui asked again. All right. Duan Lingtian nodded and performed the blood ownership claim on the spatial ring that Lu Rui gave him earlier. Soon after, he saw the spirit fruit that was consumed by the void transformation stage martial artists in the spatial ring. He had never consumed this spirit fruit before, so he did not have to worry about its medicinal effect decreasing. I plan to consume the spirit fruit to cultivate first. I'll look for you to enter the profound assimilation formation after I've finished cultivating. Duan Lingtian told him his plan. Of course, part of the reason he made such a plan was for Xiongquan's sake. Xiongquan's current cultivation base was still too weak after all. If he were to enter the profound assimilation formation together with him, Xiongquan's soul would not be able to withstand the concept energy that filled the profound assimilation formation with his current cultivation base, let alone helping him improve his sword concept. Alright. Right now, Lu Rui would do whatever Duan Lingtian told him to do. He would listen to whatever Duan Lingtian said. If that's the case, I won't disturb your cultivation anymore, Elder Duan. Lu Rui then left sensibly. After Lu Rui left, Duan Lingtian also left the main hall and went to the backyard. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.